What's up, fellow nerds? I'm Josiah.
I'm Nick.
We're friends.
We're playing Marvel Rivals.
We're friends and rivals. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 14 of Friends and Rivals, a Marvel Rivals podcast. We got some news, some cool skins for you today, and a new little Marvel Rivals behind the scenes kind of sneak peek. We have a main topic, kind of a little flip from back in episode 6, if you were listening then, about which characters we don't play and why. We have another episode of Nick's game that he introduced last week that now is named appropriately, I think. Hopefully, if you enjoyed the little editorial soundbite from last episode, you'll enjoy it in perpetuity. And then, of course, we do have our hero spotlights coming back with Winter Soldier and Reddit Take of the Week, Mailbag, all that good stuff. Anyway, Nick, what's up?
Hey.
How you doing?
It's been quite a week. If you can't tell, I'm still sick.
Yeah.
I got just good enough to be able to work on Wednesday, and then my body decided that's it. I'm not going to get any better than that. A lot of that was just because I had like a lot of stuff that I had to do last week. We had I mentioned, I think, like episode 4 or whatever, that it had been a hard week back then, and that was because my grandma passed away a couple months ago when we were doing that episode, and we had her memorial and burial and like a last family holiday in her house this weekend, like back to back to back. So it was a really good weekend. It was good to see everyone and share a bunch of memories and laugh a bunch, but it was not conducive to getting better from being sick, and it was pretty, wiped me out quite a bit. So
yeah, of course.
But I'm glad to be here. Glad to be doing this again. It's always nice to have this in the schedule for the week and be able to go like, all right, we're gonna do something fun on this night.
Dude,
this week. Oh yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say it's funny because unfortunately my personality, when we started doing this, Tuesdays were like really hard for me because I unfortunately just my inclination to be anxious about things new things like this was like stressing me out, and I'm so glad that we've like gotten our flow and just like kind of know what we're doing a bit more now it's the same for me now.
Yeah. On a completely unrelated note, I do have just a random cool nerd thing that I found out this week. Okay, so I was listening to a game design podcast, and they had a guest on, and he just dropped that he had been working on the Cosmere RPG. If you don't know what that is, that's Brandon Sanderson. He's my favorite fantasy author. Brando Sando. He's awesome. His books are amazing, but they're huge, and his world is huge, and it's like a whole bunch of different sprawling planets that every book he writes is kind of connected to for the most part. Other than the sci-fi stuff is separate. But yeah, someone's making a tabletop role-playing system for it, and I think it's out already, or at least they were far enough along that they could talk about it like it was.
Oh geez.
But I need to move. A couple months from now, I'll be moving to where you are.
Yeah.
And I need to move, and you need to read a whole bunch of Brandon Sanderson for the next like 8 months, so it's not all spoilers. And we need to play this game.
I know. I literally when I went back to visit with family and stuff last month, I picked up Mistborn. I was looking for what book do I want to read on the plane, and I picked up Mistborn, and I'm like, man, I forgot that even Mistborn is really freaking long.
Yeah, but it's like one of those short ones.
I know, right? That's the crazy thing. And I'm like, I know I'm not going to have time to read this whole thing on the plane. So I brought a smaller book, but
You just need to get started, dude.
I know I do. I do.
It's
Jess,
self-sustaining once you start. When you get like through the first third of the first one, you're like, I'm
yeah,
gonna read every book he's ever written.
yes. And I know, I know that that's going to happen because I'm really intrigued by his world. I've watched Brandon Sanderson lectures. Like I know about the man. I just don't, I haven't read any of his stuff. But I promised my wife that I would read the first book in the Murderbot series
Okay.
next because yeah, it's coming to like Apple TV and she really likes that. But I was wondering what this note
Have
was.
you?
BS RPG.
Yeah, I know there was no really good way
That
to
makes
write
sense.
that. You've watched his lectures, but have you watched his Elden Ring playthrough?
No, what? He played through Elden Ring?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Did he beat it?
I don't know. I don't know. I
Holy
just remember
crap.
seeing a couple videos of it.
I know what I am doing the next pocket of free time that I have. Wow.
He's got 2 episodes up. Okay. Oh,
Ah,
there's
okay.
streams. He was streaming it. Okay.
Oh, got it, got it, got
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Yeah,
Well,
yeah, anyway.
yeah,
It's he stays up super late. Like his schedule is like kind of backwards. He kind of lives at night. And
yeah,
so
surprise, surprise.
super at the end of the day at like 4 a.m. he'll stream playing video games.
At the end of the day, start playing at 4 a.m. Man, that sounds like that sounds like my
Yeah.
college life. um, well, I had some cool stuff going on this week too, actually, and I've well, I'll sum it up quickly, I guess. My in-laws came out to visit, and we got to do some exploring. I've been wanting to go to the mountains out here, and my in-laws used to live in a cabin
Mhm.
in the mountains, so found a spot relatively close to where we live, less than an hour away. Did some really awesome hiking, dude. The whole time I was thinking just how fun it'll be to come and visit, like explore some of these places with you guys when
Yeah,
you
dude,
come out
those
here.
pictures you sent were insane.
Oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. I will say this was the first like you don't have to get super serious, but I sent the picture in our group chat. At one point, you pass a sign. Well, if you want to pass it, you pass a sign that's like danger, danger, serious injuries and deaths have occurred beyond this point. And when you pass that hand in hand with a 3.5-year-old, your protective dad heart and mind are just like especially with a son who is just absolutely intrepid
Yeah,
uh
that's
as
a good word
as
for it.
yeah, as my boy is, yeah, standing feet away from a 500-foot drop is intimidating to be sure. But I also got in Marvel Rivals news, transitioning into our news. I got my Magneto Funko,
Nice.
which officially isn't supposed to release until the 15th this month. So I yeah, I've always wanted to be one of those people who pre-orders a game and gets sent it early, and that never happened. But hey, I got my Marvel Rivals Magneto Funko.
Nice. He looks cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
whenever we end up doing video finally, once we're all settled on that, you gotta
Yeah.
have him in the background,
Yep, I
visible.
know. I plan on building my collection, so yeah.
Cool.
Well,
Um,
we have a
well,
review.
we do, yeah. So we got a review this week from Goose13.
I like that pronunciation.
Geuce, Goose, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, he says, an awesome listen. I'm a longtime Madden player. Marvel Rivals is my first team shooter game played. So I need a little help getting better. So I found your guys' podcast and listened to it at work. And you guys helped me so much. And plus, it's very entertaining. I'm now Lord on 4 heroes. Plus, I have a strong love for comics and can tell you have the same passion. Love the show. Keep it going.
Heck yeah.
Coming. Keep it coming. That's what it is. I can read.
Yeah. Thank you, Gius13. Love to see it. Oh, and by the way, I'm sorry, but thank you, Night Gobbler.
Thank you, Night Gobbler.
We have dropped the ball on the last like 3 or 4 reviews we've done, and we talked about this off
Forgive us,
uh,
Night Gobbler, for
off
we've said
air. I know. but we're bringing it back. Dang it. Also, just like we haven't mentioned this, but like literally every single review we've gotten since the very first 24 hours with our 1-star bomb have been 5 stars. Like,
Yeah, it seems to be how it goes. You get, love or hate.
yeah. I have a theory about that based on some research we had done previously, but I won't go into that here.
No, you can tell me off air. I'd love to hear.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you all so much for the 5-star reviews. Like it's so cool that other people enjoy this. It's just, we don't want to like hang on analytics in our episodes, but it's so fun to know that people enjoy what we're doing here. So thanks for
Yeah,
spending your time listening to us.
definitely. And now, listen to us tell you the news.
Impending doom, new behind the music for you.
Wow.
That was sorry. Did I play that YouTube clip live straight to my microphone? Did you hear that?
Straight with your mouth
Dude,
trumpet. Yeah.
mouth trumping. That electric guitarist is incredible. um, new behind the music, yeah. So it's so cool. Please go listen to it. Pause the podcast, come back, listen to Impending Doom played live orchestra. This is the jam of Marvel Rivals as far as I'm concerned. I think this soundtrack is super cool. Again, just really fun to see the live performance. Really great to see in an age of ever increasing AI influence in the creative process, which depresses me greatly. I need AI to do my job and fold my laundry, not create my art. But great to see live, real flesh and blood human beings being contracted and paid to use their skills to do this kind of stuff. So support it.
Yep.
And hey, you can support it for free. Free game. YouTube is free. Watch it for free. Likes are free. Do it.
Yeah. And nice of them to drop it on a slow news week.
Yeah, that's
So
right. Yeah, our news only takes up 2 pages instead of like 6.
30 like last week.
Yeah.
Uh, so speaking of the bit of news that we do have this week is there's skins this week
Yeah.
as always, and they're ones that if you've listened to the last couple
Mhm.
episodes, you already knew they were coming, because we've got Rocket Raccoon and his, oh gosh, this is so small, Sunshine Raccoon skin.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
And we've got Squirrel Girl's Sunshine Squirrel skin coming out. They're both their beach skins. Squirrel Girl's got this little green swimsuit thing going on, and Tippy Toe is adorable.
Yeah.
And
He has
Rocket's
sunglasses.
got like a water jetpack and
And a water
a
gun.
giant water gun, which is awesome.
Oh my gosh, I just noticed. He has there's an octopus in his water tank, and there's, what is that, a frog? There's another animal in
Maybe,
his
yeah.
in his tank. Oh, that's so cool.
I love the tactical rubber duckies. That he has on his waist.
Yeah. It's those are super cool. I really like Squirrel Girls too. It's just like a good,
Yeah.
clean look. It's really
Yeah,
cool. I
it
think
is.
a lot of people are gonna buy that skin. I like her. I really like her slingshot too. That like viney floral. Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, I saw on Twitter people were making a comment that the Band-Aid was a funny choice.
Oh yeah.
Like she just has a scraped knee. They're like, that's gonna leave a weird tan line. But
What's funny is I saw that and I was just like, yeah, like she would. She's
yeah,
like,
oh no, 100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
adventurous and yeah. No, I like him. I like him a lot. But there is a noticeable lack of the the thing in in this skin
And
release.
Jeff, yeah.
And yeah, little sailor Captain Jeff. So I feel like it's a pretty safe bet to expect that those are both coming next week, because
I hope so.
those are the other 2 that were in the comic leaked. There is some interesting stuff with Namor. Like there was a Namor one too that was floating around somewhere, and
There's a Punisher costume by the same artist as the Loki and Hela and Penny, the Penny one and the two. Um, there's a Punisher one that's in the same style that we haven't seen yet, but has been like in an Infinity comic for Rivals
Oh,
too.
okay.
So
Yeah.
we've got a couple that are still floating out
Well,
there.
and then the original leak and post from Marvel was about the like beach comic series returning, and none of these are from that, as far as I know. Like, that hasn't actually come
No,
back
these are
at
from
all.
the
Yeah,
Rivals.
these are from the
Yeah,
Rivals
these are from the
Infinity.
Rivals. Yeah, yeah. The swimsuit thing will be this summer, I'm sure.
Got it. I see. That makes sense. I expected that to cross over, but I guess, yeah, these are just the Krakoa like resort one. But anyway, well, speaking of skins and art and all that stuff, there's an art book coming out. A lot of people have been asking about this. I saw a ton of comments on the behind the scenes art volume 1 video. A lot of people were commenting like, "Oh man, if I could, I love the art so much. Like, I just wish I had literally an art book." And here it is.
Now you
Yeah,
do.
now you do. So,
Well, in
well,
September 2nd, you
yeah.
do.
September 2nd, you do for $54.24 for some reason.
All
Must have
right.
been a currency translation that was kind of
Yeah,
odd.
kind of weird.
But yeah, pre-order now on
And
Amazon is the where I saw it. So
and if you don't pre-order, since it is Rivals, then I can pretty much guarantee you that they'll release a premium version of this that is nothing but butt cheeks.
oh yeah, yep. Someone will, yeah, some Redditor, go ahead and make a cut of this, a cheat cut of the Rivals art book where it's just every
No. I'm saying Rivals will do it because that's how they make
oh,
money.
right.
So when it doesn't sell, then they'll add more butt cheeks.
Right. Yeah, more butt cheeks,
Yeah.
more butt cheeks. But yeah.
Um, well, we got a couple like local community news things.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, I guess one local community news thing. So Mr. Zach on the Discord, last week during the news about the Brain Blast mode, I had said like, hey, if we have anyone listening who gets one of the top 500 titles, to let us know. And Mr. Zach on the Discord got a top 500 title for
Heck yeah, I
Storm,
did.
which is not you, which is
Me,
oh, I
you
thought you
jerk.
said yeah, I did. Uh, which the title is Giant Size Brainstorm.
Yes.
So you got a
Yes.
brainstorm skin or title. So
Congratulations, you
cool.
done it.
And then Josiah, I have a question for
Yeah.
you that people on Discord were talking about. What are your thoughts on the way that the new event challenges work for this one? Specifically, the fact that when you finish a set, you have to wait until 9 o'clock UTC to get the next set of challenges.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. It's a choice.
I don't like it
I
at all.
I
Uh,
yeah, I mentioned that they're kind of last episode, and I mean, this just further confirms that I was commenting on this event last episode, but we didn't know how it was going to play out with how they're
mhm.
like time gating things. But they are really just throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks, what like brings people back, what engages people long term, which we might get into at the end of this
Yeah,
episode, depending on time. But yeah,
yeah.
I'm not a fan of time gating things, just in general.
Yeah,
So
this felt the most mobile game out of
yeah,
anything that I've seen. And I think what was frustrating about it was like if it was a normal event where there were only two or three, like how the Cerebro event, every couple of
hmm
days they unlock a new
yeah,
thing. That feels differently than like you can no longer continue what you have already unlocked, wait until tomorrow,
yeah,
right? Um, and specifically, this event has a lot of parts to
yes,
it.
I know.
Like the
This,
first phase took a couple days,
yeah,
and then there's the middle phase that I'm in right now, which is like 3 or 4 time gates. And then there's the end one, which who knows how many time gates that'll be.
yeah,
And so it's kind of one of those things of like you're not leaving a lot of space for people to not finish them like immediately as soon as they
right,
can to move on to the next one.
yeah.
And that's what I'm not feeling so great about.
I
Because there's a Wolverine skin at
I
the end of this.
know. I literally on on Saturday night, I was looking at it and I'm like, man, is this gonna be the first event that I don't finish? It was making me
Right.
nervous looking at that.
Yeah, and it's not even that I'm not playing. It's just
Yeah,
like, I don't know how many parts there are to
I
this, and
know.
there's only 3 weeks left for
I
this.
know.
So
Well, in my just the way, the way it works, I don't play like a little bit a lot. I'll play like a lot in like one chunk
in
for,
chunks. Yeah.
so that makes it kind of challenging too, but I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what the
Yeah.
feedback. I haven't really heard anything about it, which is interesting. I don't know,
Yeah.
but
I don't know. There was a little bit of rumbling about it on our Discord, and then I was sitting here looking at it, thinking like, man, is this going to be the first thing in Rivals that I actually just kind of complain about? Like
yeah,
that I'm not like, oh well, you see what they're doing, and like they're
yeah,
doing such a great job and all. Where it's just the thing that I'm like, yeah, I don't like
yeah,
this.
yeah,
And I guess it
yeah.
is.
There it is. Wow.
But it's not huge. I think I'm still going to be able to get the skin. I think a lot of people are still going to be able to get
Yeah,
it, and hopefully they do get a little bit of rumbling, and they're pretty good at responding to that when
yeah.
they get it. So
Indeed, indeed. Well, cool. Shall we do our podcast patch notes?
let's do
All
it.
right.
All right, it's our second true edition of podcast patch notes. So
Yeah,
2
yeah.
minutes on the clock, Josiah. Here you go.
All right. So it might seem silly, but I freaking loved the Brain Blast game mode. It's like probably the simplest one we've had so far. Funko Marvel Rivals, but it really made me actually rethink the characters I wanted to play and the way I played them and all characters. Honestly, I actually played Widow and had a lot of fun clicking heads because it was much easier. And yeah, Mantis and Warlock and still didn't play Hela, just not interested. But it was the perfect match length too. I just like how like chaotic and frenetic it was. Weird that it even still today shows that like still available for 2 days and 6 hours, but the event is over. So just kind of odd. But another thing, I discovered something about Emma's ult that seems very important. And when you get locked into the mind control, it doesn't matter if she's looking at you or not. You just start moving in her direction wherever she was when she locked the mind control on you. So that was something that was new to me. I thought you had to keep like holding it over them, but even if you like die, you'll stay mind controlled.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, even if like she's like dead, you'll stay mind controlled, walking in a direction
You,
until that it ends.
so you have to stay looking at them
And
until it mind controls them, but then you don't have to.
that's right. You've taken 3 seconds of my time. So, holy crap. If you have not read any of the lore for this season, some stuff has gone down, gang. Doom tried to erase Ultron from the time stream and messed up and may have created him in this universe. Ultron killed Magneto. Then Ultron killed Magneto, and Magneto gets brought back by Cerebro. I'm out of time. Ultron dies, and Tony Stark resurrects Ultron in an effort to kill Ultron.
All right. You went over by 7, but that was because of my 3. So awesome. Good job. Cool
thanks.
lore stuff. We'll have to talk about it sometime. All right.
Yeah.
I'm starting my clock. Here we go. So my podcast patch notes are brought to you by comments and Discord messages and not by myself. But we start with Dallywag00 said last week on Spotify, I love the podcast, but I need you to correct yourself in the next episode because you got the Spider-Man patch notes wrong. So awkward. We were exposed as people who have played 2 minutes of Spider-Man between us.
Oh no.
The amazing combo ability that got nerfed from 5 meters to 4 meters is not his ultimate. I thought it was his ultimate because he yells something about, "Hey, it's the Amazing Spider-Man," right? No, it's his uppercut. It has like a 5-minute radius or a 5-meter radius that you can lock on to uppercut someone. Now it's 4.
Oh gosh.
So Spider-Man mains are in shambles and upset about that change. So it apparently is a pretty big nerf because now all of their memory of how far away they have to be to do that is wrong. So But it's not his ult. His ult is
Wow.
still just as deadly as possible. Funpack16 on Discord says, "Hey guys, in regards to you discussing the matchmaking points and comparing yourself to your teammates, you can do that without being friends with them. There isn't a way to do it in game, but you can go to tracker.gg and look up your profile to see your prior matches. It displays how many points
Ah,
each player won and lost. That is true.
very interesting.
I knew about Tracker GG, but I didn't know that it shows other people's rank points in each game. But that makes sense because it's a stat that would be
Yeah,
in
me
there.
either.
And then Smith Shoots on Discord told me a couple weeks ago about a Hulk setting where you can set his jump to tap instead of hold. So to charge up his jump,
Oh.
you tap it once and it starts charging it, and then you tap it again to leap.
Oh.
I changed it to that, and it has been real good. It takes some time to
Yeah.
get
Holy
used
crap.
to, and it means that a
Sure.
lot of times you're at like full jump length because you get in the habit of just hitting spacebar as soon as you finish jumping, so that it's already ready. Because then you have like no downtime on the whole jump. Anyway, that's me.
Wow. You still have the 7 seconds extra that I took. Anything else you'd like to say? Anyone you'd like to thank?
Thanks, Mom. No, no,
Uh,
I'm good.
oh yeah. Oh, hey, yeah. Speaking of thanks, Mom. By the time this episode goes live, you'll still have time to order for next day Amazon Prime shipping for Mother's Day. Coming at you this Sunday. Also, this episode not sponsored by Amazon Prime. Sorry, I've mentioned Amazon like 3 times already.
We got to just go get an affiliate link to Amazon and just put it in the just
Yeah.
for something. Maybe for the Magneto
Yes.
Funko.
Yeah. Buy your mom the Magneto Funko for Mother's Day. She'll love it.
All right.
Anyway, this has been Podcast Patch Notes. So, like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, our main topic this week is about the heroes that we don't pick and why we don't pick them. And then just to continue our inverse of our main topic in episode 6, we talked about how do we pick the heroes we play each match. So in this one, we're going to talk a little bit about how do we decide when to swap off of a hero in a match. So I've come up with my 4 pillars of nope, as I'm calling them, which we'll go through one by one, just kind of explain some of the core reasons why I don't why a hero does not interest me, and we'll go through like an example or two of each of ours.
And
yeah,
now have an effort that I have to maintain to one up how much Josiah thinks I over prepare for things each week.
oh my gosh.
So take a look at that link,
What have you
Josiah.
done? What have you done
I dropped it
again? Wait, what link?
Here you go. Here's the link. Take a look at that. This is my analysis.
Stop. What is this?
So you said when we were
Oh
talking
my
about
goodness.
this topic, you said like, yeah, it will kind of, go off of like our fun tier list and our difficulty conversation. And maybe even, go into some of the sub roles a little bit about like why we play what characters we do and which ones we don't. And so, I just made a nice little Excel spreadsheet of all of those things, and you can sort by any of the columns and find some data.
Holy
And
crap.
if you look, there's a second sheet that's for you. So I've analyzed
Oh,
you
wow.
and have learned things.
Oh my goodness. When do you have the
don't.
time to
That's
do
the
this?
problem is I don't, but I do it anyway.
Oh
And
my
also,
gosh.
I mean,
This is
it
crazy,
doesn't actually
man.
take that long. Most of this I just copied and pasted from the other one.
Holy
But
crap.
anyway, now that I've derailed our topic,
Do you have on here now? Well, now I'm just curious. Do you have on here our
yeah,
tier list
there's
rank?
a
I don't
fun
see it.
tier,
Oh, do you?
but it's
Oh, fun
5 is
tier,
S
fun
and
tier.
1 is D.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Interesting.
So
Okay. I'm gonna already sort
yeah,
by that because
playtime rank is what number 1 is your most played character, and then it goes down from there. So you can sort it by who you've played the most to the
yeah.
least, which is interesting. Anyway, Let's actually talk.
Okay, this
I
this
will
is
sort
interesting
through
though.
that and
Yeah, yeah.
find
Th-
insights as you need me to.
Okay, all right, all right. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, yeah. I feel I've already sorted my data, so I think it should be good. All right. Well, uh, once again, I'm like making the notes for the topic, and I'm like, all right, dang, I always know that you always do tons of preparation, and now 2 weeks in a row you've duped me, thinking that that for once, like, okay,
No,
cool,
but see,
Nick's
here's the
gonna
thing.
chill.
I did all this and I still don't know what I think. So I'm still kind of winging it like I was with the tier list. I'm just winging it with data. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, this is. I mean, this conversation is
Yeah.
more off,
Yeah.
shooting from the hip too on things. It's
Well,
personal. It's
pillars of
about us.
note.
But
Let's
all
do
right,
it.
so jumping right into it. Yep, my very first pillar is about judging a book by its cover. So, do they seem lame? This is category one. This is honestly like the least important for me, I think, in general, because it's, obviously it's just completely personal. However, I say that and then immediately follow up with this fact. This has kept me from playing certain heroes in games like completely. Um, I I never touched that stupid fairy hero in Paladins. I played a ton of Heroes of the Storm, and Brightwing was generally considered to be like one of the best supports in the game. 0 seconds on Brightwing, just because the like cute silly thing just like didn't interest me. It was just kind of, I'm not interested in that thing. The like cute thing.
Jeff.
I like cute things, but like kind
Yeah.
of like silly, dumb. Yeah, Jeff, perfect. Oh, here we go. So there's some sort of uncanny valley for me when it comes to cute. That you've got like really cute
You just don't
things,
like
and then you've got
fairies.
like dumb cute things. I don't like fairies, but my example in this game is I'm sorry, everybody. I'm going to be apologizing a lot. Is Mr. Fantastic? Uh, Mr. Fantastic is not. There is nothing about Mr. Fantastic that is cool to me, except for the fact that he's like, super intelligent, like the smartest man in the world. But that obviously, doesn't come through in any of his gameplay. I think that the stretchy power thing is really dumb. I've never thought that that was cool, like in anything ever with superheroes and comics. Man, I feel like I'm just pinning a big target on
He
myself.
definitely is a little bit more wacky than a
But
lot of other superpowers. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, he's wacky. He's wacky waving inflatable tube man
But
in the game.
he's wacky.
He's
He's wacky
very,
inflatable tube
huh?
man with a 53% win rate right now. So maybe you need to give him another chance.
That is true. That is true. That is true. But this goes back consistent with me. Like I never ever literally like someone's win rate will never play into why I'm interested in a hero or not. That's just my personality. I'm very it- not contrarian, but like
But
anyway.
I
Um I, oh,
Siri,
sorry,
hey
Siri wasn't
Siri,
talking to
should I
you. But yeah,
break
go
that
ahead.
for him? Should I break that understanding of
No.
himself? Because
Oh no. No, don't give me the data.
based on this
I don't need
data, a
an
lot of your
existential
fun tier
crisis right
and
now.
most played characters are also
Stop.
really, really good.
Stop. Stop. That's because good I'm not I don't pick based on the meta, but who's to say that my taste isn't impeccable and I just pick
All I'm
characters who
saying
are
is your
naturally
bottom
good.
10 only has 3 people above a 50% win rate. And your top 10 only has like, well, a lot of people have less than 50%. So it's kind of split, but
Thank
your
you.
5 tier fun
Thank
ones only
you.
have one really bad character on there. And it's Jeff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This Jeff, yeah, 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 yeah. He's not bad,
Just as
but
yeah,
yeah,
statistically,
the
but
whole
not like depending on the person for sure.
right, right, right. I'm a person who thrives off of vibes, and I've mentioned multiple times like I like quote cool things, I like edgy things, I like darker things. So naturally, like the goofy, wacky, scientist Reed doesn't really appeal to me. There are some lines that he drops in game that are really funny that I do laugh at
Yeah.
because he is funny. Like, but I just like I'm not interested in playing
Yeah.
that kind of character.
Okay, so this pillar like works for me too. There's definitely characters that the aesthetic, like I don't care, and so I don't go for them. And I was trying to think for an example in Rivals with this. And weirdly, it's not like the classic example of like I think they're lame, so I don't pick them. But I didn't really play any of the core six Avengers for a really long time. Like I stayed off of Hulk, off of Iron Man, off of
Oh, whoa.
Cap, off of Thor. Thor is probably the one I played the most early on. But a lot of the
Yeah.
Avengers, like like if they were a big MCU character, I just wasn't really interested. And I think it was just because they're super
Huh.
cool characters, but for Rivals, they weren't the interesting ones because they're the ones that I already knew. And
Yeah,
so
right.
characters like Magic, Luna, Jeff, like Penny stuck out to me as like, oh,
Yeah.
this is different, you know. Um, so it's the same kind of thing. It's like
Right.
an aesthetic
Well,
not
like
hitting me right, but it wasn't because they're lame. It's just because I'm used to them.
yeah, and it's kind of like the villain versus hero thing, where like villains are always cooler than heroes. In the same way, like the core heroes, or sorry, the more like offshoot side heroes are often like
Right.
cooler than the
Just because
core
they're less
heroes.
familiar. Yeah.
Like yeah, yeah, but also they get. I think just because I mean, wow, there's a whole philosophy of this that we could talk about, but
Right.
they're just more
Yeah.
experimental with side heroes. They're going with what the safer options are for the core cast. Super Soldier American with Shield, like. Okay, and I love Captain America. Like I think he's great, but just like looking at that on paper, I'd be like,
Sure.
what?
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. Like that wouldn't interest me really at all. Or you're like
Yeah.
Kitty Pride, like can phase through anything and like manipulate. Yeah. So there's that makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah. 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 Well, pillar number 2 of Nope is I apologize. Man, I thought of something. I thought of something to say here. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. Let me see if I can pull this off here live with no preparation. Hey Nick, have you heard about the sustained D's?
What's that?
What what's what?
What's up, Doc? Uh,
No.
I'm sorry. I don't even know what you want me to say.
You're supposed to say
What
what
are
are the
the
sustained
sustained
D's?
D's?
Sustained D's nuts. I I I don't care about the sustain archetype. This is about the lack of stimulating moment to moment gameplay. So in general,
Hold up a
Marvel
minute.
Rivals.
Hold up a minute.
Wait,
I
wait, wait,
spent
wait, wait.
forever on the notes trying to figure out what sustained D's nuts was supposed to mean as a core pillar of Nope. And I only just went off of your example and then didn't even get it right because I had no clue what you were saying.
Well,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
put in
yeah.
the parentheses yeah, yeah. This is just about like sorry to my sustain sub-role mains, but like that I was thinking of what role am I just the least interested in out of all of like the 3 primary roles and then all of the sub roles, and it's the sustain for sure. Like sustain DPS. Obviously, I think Marvel Rivals in general does just a fantastic job with their hero design and like the moment to moment feel. So even people who are sustain, archetypally are generally more interesting. Like Soldier 76 is my go-to example, and you'll see obviously the parallel that I chose to use here. I mentioned in the last episode where we talked about fun, like if I want to play a shooter, I'm going to play Call of Duty. I'm going to play something else. So the Punisher is my example here because I just don't feel great about the moment to moment gameplay. I don't feel that I have like each click I make, each key I press is having a large impact on the battle or the game at large. I'm not doing combos with the Punisher. I'm either firing or I'm in turret mode, also firing, or I'm getting somewhere else with his zipline to fire some more, or I'm using his ult to fire some more. Like that, the Punisher can be really good and is really annoying when you're fighting a good one. And I get that, like, getting those kills and just bullet hosing right up Main Street is I get why people like it. It's just not what I go for. I'm not at all interested in that, and that's why he ended up as a D tier
Yeah,
for
I was
me
gonna say
in my fun list.
the
I
data
think.
here actually like sustains this point quite well. Like you have
Heck
poke and
yeah.
sustain like all the way at the bottom, pretty much like across the board. Which
Yes. I mean, that's a weird thing to be
which is
excited
funny
for, but
because
I'm
Namor
consistent.
is your like highest, and he's
Yes. And I thought about this. And you know what's interesting? Don't freaking play Namor that way. I play Namor like a flanker. I was thinking about how I play him, and I really go like as Namor. All of my kills, I get crazy kills with Namor. They're all supports. I just go after the supports. I play the angle with Namor. I get into positions where they can't get behind cover or have their if they have like an anchor that they can't be shielded by their vanguard. I drop the octopus and I gank people. So the way I play Namor is
that's
generally
interesting.
not as
This
a
also
sustain.
explains our Hela and Hawkeye paradox of like you really like Hawkeye but hate Hela,
Mm-hmm.
and I really like Hela but hate Hawkeye. And it's
Yep.
because like Hawkeye
Yeah.
doesn't have as much of the sustain. Like you're doing more punctuated moments of right. Every shot is less frequent and more important.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And for
Yeah.
me, like I can't stand sniping for the reason of like I don't want to spend 20 seconds and do absolutely nothing because I missed two shots. Um,
Yeah.
where so Hella like putting a little bit more sustain in it, you take the peaks down a little bit and get more consistent, and she just ends up being a blast
Yeah.
because I'm two-shotting everyone in the world, which is a lot better than one-shotting people 20% of the time, you know. So that makes a lot of sense. For me,
Yeah.
this category, I went with your parentheses because again, I didn't know what sustained these nuts meant. But uh, do they lack stimulating moment-to-moment gameplay? I, in my mind, the characters that show up here are Rocket and Magneto. I think, I think last week I mentioned. Let me see where I got Magneto. I think last week, yeah, I have Magneto at a 2 on the fun tier, and I had Rocket as a 3. And they're both really good, and they're both
Yeah.
really important characters, and they both do things that I want
Yeah.
to do for my team, but
Right.
I just don't like the moment to moment, and so I haven't been able to get myself to play them well enough,
Sure.
or enough to get good at them. And like it's weird because like this category is one where I don't want this to be true. Like they're not characters that I'm like, ugh, I dislike them. It's just I can't get myself to like them. Like it's I don't know, like it's a subtle difference, but it's like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
like them and I can't, rather than like I want to dislike them and I, you know,
Right.
succeed at disliking them.
Right. No, I get that. And I feel like I felt that way more with Rocket. I like both of these characters. I have them both up higher, but I especially with the change in Rocket where you have to be more accurate. You can't just like mindlessly lob. I mean, you can, but to be effective, you have to like hit with his healing orbs. I find him more engaging. I more agree with Magneto. I really think, honestly, if Magneto wasn't Magneto and his kit was the same, I probably wouldn't like him as much. I think it's because I like Magneto
And that
so
makes sense.
much.
That makes perfect sense.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. His moment to moment isn't like super engaging, but it is very valuable. So I feel that that's where my like in what I like in a character. I think one of my if it wasn't my main thing, I know it was one of my main reasons was I like feeling like the character I'm playing is adding a lot of value to the team, and being able to save someone or yourself from death from literally anything, like every few seconds with his shields. There's a lot to that. So I think that covers a lot of ground with like maybe less stimulating like
Yeah, that's fair. That both of those
actions,
are good
you
cases
know.
for them, and yeah, maybe it'll be enough to get me to give them another shot again. I do think I haven't played Rocket since they made that change, and I remember that change being something that I was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
gonna feel really good.
Yep. I was gonna say I genuinely don't think you'll ever like
But I
Magneto.
want to,
Just
man.
from like how I know you and the kind of characters I know. I do think you would like Rocket though. I think if you like played Rocket, I think you would enjoy him. He's a lot of fun. Who knows? Maybe you can be the DPS Rocket follow up that we need. Moving on to pillar number 3, a school for ants. Uh, this is about having a low skill ceiling, or even more specifically, having the skill floor and the skill ceiling both being low. Um, I I like depth to characters. I like tech. I like combos. I like learning. I All of those things are important to me in like any game. I often play characters, even if they're harder. I often play characters that have a lot of growth. For all my FromSoft fans, I play the depraved or the equivalent in every single Souls game, the one that starts completely naked with a club. Just because one, I like really hard games, and two, I love that experience of like starting and like looking back on a journey and realizing how far you've come. So my hero that goes into this category is Squirrel Girl. Um, I don't even think she's like, she's well, yeah. Sorry, I'm sorry, but just lobbing the grenades. You don't have to aim all that much. Like you really can just kind of send them downrange a lot of the time and just soak damage.
I was
To
gonna
be like
say,
good
I
with
feel like a
her,
lot
you
of time
do
on Squirrel
sure.
Girl is
Like
spent bouncing things so that you actually hit people instead of like flyers and
yeah,
stuff.
and
Like
like
you can do some nasty things.
and that's sure totally. And I mean, it's the same with Junkrat and Overwatch, right? But like I just didn't like I Junkrat. I think more so than Squirrel Girl because Junkrat actually had some really cool tech. But yeah, just all of her abilities are good. The CC is, I mean, fantastic. Double jump, cool. Like resetting your cooldowns, great. It's just all very like basic, and I don't feel like there's a lot. Who knows? Maybe I'll study Squirrel Girl. We'll get to her hero spotlight at some point, and I'll be blown away. But I just don't feel like there's a whole lot. Like once you learn her abilities, like once you've read their descriptions, you're like, yeah, okay. Like I'm not sure that I feel
Yeah, I
there's
mean
that much more to her.
she's interesting because like it is a lot more plug and play, but I don't know, there's a lot more like little finesse things of like just because you have to bounce things, right? And the
Yeah,
the
that is a
CC
good
is
key
really
point. I
not
think that I didn't
easy to
consider.
hit. Like the way that it moves is interesting.
Really?
It kind of lumbers along
Hmm.
and like moves weirdly. And so like it can be pretty challenging because especially because the people that you want to hit are the people that are the most mobile. So there's a lot of like leading your shots, like being able to, that kind of thing. But
Hmm.
again, that's a thing that's not so much on the, we had the different types of difficulty. Like that's not on the ability complexity, it's not on the combo orientation stuff, which I think is the
Yeah.
stuff that you and I both like a lot. But every once in a while, it is nice to
Right.
have. I think it's funny that I'm about to say this before the take I'm about to have. Um, it is nice to have sometimes a character that's mostly just mechanical skill and like just kind of jam on that and
Mm.
like I don't know. Having said that,
Sure.
um, yeah,
Turn
having
that side
said
of your brain
that,
off.
for my skill ceiling issue, pillar of nope. I have to use Punisher and Hawkeye as the examples, which is going to be a weird take. But for me, what I'm trying to say there,
Yeah, I know. At first, when I read this, I was like, "What is
yeah,
he? Wait, did he
what I'm
misunderstand
trying to
this?"
say
But then
here
I,
is that
yeah.
those are characters that largely their skill ceiling, while high, is basically high because of mechanical aim kind of skill ceiling.
Yeah.
Which is the
Right.
aspect of hero
Right.
shooters that I'm like the least interested in. because it's also the aspect of hero shooters that I'm the
Right.
least good at. Um, like I'm not gonna go do an aim trainer to get really good with Hawkeye, and like I'm not consistent enough to just land the entire
Yeah.
clip in headshots with Punisher all the time. And so like unless I got into some weird mood where I was like, I really do want to work on my aim like crazy for months, they're just not characters that I'm gonna feel
Yeah.
the desire to like really pick up and play for a long time because
Sure.
so I end up playing a
Yeah.
lot of the
Makes
ones that
sense.
are lower on the mechanical skill side and way higher on the ability complexity combo stuff because I yeah, that's just kind of how I play video games. I don't have the reflexes as much, so I do the sneaky, tricky brain power thing, and
Hmm.
so like the Punisher, we always talk about how he's basically Call of Duty, and he's basically the Call of Duty that I never play when I play Call of Duty. Josiah knows when I play Call of Duty, I'm like the one that's coming up with weird
Yep.
crossbow
Yep. Yep.
knife setups where my whole
Yeah.
thing is like I will lose in a fair fight, so I need to find all sorts of ways to come up behind people, come in the wrong spot, leave things in weird places. um, so I can't even get myself to play Call of
Right.
Duty this
Right.
way. So the characters that are more straight shooter
Yeah.
kind of characters, I not as interested in.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally get that. And even though I feel like I do like I can aim, not always, like it's weird. Some games I can, some games I can't. But like in this one I generally feel like I can. I still always, and that, I mean, that's going back to how I play Namor. Like I love playing that like strategic, like trying to make the big brain play and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I think that makes perfect sense. That is true, and that is it's interesting as I think about Hawkeye. I mean, obviously there is more to him than just like landing those headshots, but yeah, I think they just, for me, whatever it is, I don't know, they just nailed that sensation that the rest of it, it doesn't matter as much. But yeah. And then my final pillar that I have is a school for giants. So the inverse of this, and this is funny, because I'm talking about how I value a high skill ceiling, which is true. But what often turns me off from attempting a hero is a skill floor that's too high. And maybe for the first time, wait, no. Oh, how funny. If I had a nickel for every time I said something positive about Widow, I'd have two nickels, which isn't much, but it's weird that I would get
Yeah.
both of them this episode. I, I talked about how I liked Widow in Big Brain, and I'm going to talk about why I don't like Widow, but I am going to say that she does
Yep.
require skill to
And she
play,
requires
which
less
is a
skill to play
positive
in Brain
thing
Blast, which
about
is why
her.
you were like, yeah, I'll play Widow. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So Widow is just my like impulse reaction when I think of skill floor too high for me to enjoy. Literally Widow's entire kit, like, oh, excuse me, knocking things over. If you are not landing her shots,
You are
her
doing
with her
nothing.
primary attack, you're doing literally nothing. And that pressure is just too high, especially when it's like scoped in sniper. You can play Hawkeye in brawl range. You might die, but you can play Hawkeye in brawl range. You can play Hawkeye at long range. You can play Hawkeye in medium range. Widow, I mean, and some Widow player would come up and say, you could do the same thing.
Right.
Did you see about that kick? I talked about how I saw that that's a big thing. But in general, playing that sniper role, literally with a sniper, a scoped in sniper rifle, the only one in the game. If you can't land those shots, you're doing nothing. And even when you can, it's still questionable. So yeah, that's just too much of a commitment for me. Like you were talking about, I'm not going to do a Black Widow aim trainer. I already don't really enjoy like long range scope snipers in games anyway. When I play snipers in Call of Duty, I play them with scopes just long enough to get the 1x scope or iron sights on them. Because yeah, I love lever action. I love that kind of stuff, but I don't like the like sit in the back line
Yeah.
and snipe
Yeah,
kind of
this
gameplay.
pillar is interesting because it's definitely there, and it's probably the one that's most important to me not playing a character initially. Um, but it's also the one
Hmm.
that like dissipates over time. So like it's not like this
Yeah.
is a character I'm probably never going to be interested in. It's I'm not ready for it yet. Um, so for me, the examples are going to be the 5-star difficulty ones. It's Spider-Man and Black Panther, right?
Yeah.
But for me, also Winter
Sure.
Soldier was in this for a long time. He was in this category where I just didn't try him at all because yeah,
And spoiler
right
alert.
now I love him. But I didn't try him for a really long time because I figured, well, he's got a hand cannon with like 3 bullets, so it's going to be one of those things where you have to hit every shot, and I'm just not going to be able to be consistent enough,
Yeah.
and I don't really want to try him. Um, and the thing is, like these characters, I usually come around on them as long as they're not snipers. I still can't do the sniper thing. It just scares me away from
Hmm.
trying them for a while. So I have a thing now, which I've been
Yeah.
trying to do with rivals, which I didn't ever really do on purpose in other games. Um, but I'm trying to take because I know I like. It's funny because these type of characters like Spider-Man, Black Panther, the big like combo based like complex abilities kind of like craziness are actually the characters that I end up enjoying
Hmm.
the most in games once I get there, but I get scared off from starting them, right? So I have a thing that I'm doing with
Yeah.
rivals where I'm like trying to every couple months or every month or so pick one that I haven't really played a whole bunch of and be like, okay, I'm going to learn this character this month. That's what I'm going to do. And I don't play them 100% of the time, but like I go like, okay, I'm going to go in the practice
Right.
range, figure out how this one works. So I did that with Winter Soldier a couple months ago and just took off. Like I just love him, right? Um, I did that with Magic
Yeah.
like a month into the game and is my most played character now, right? Like so um yeah, so
Yeah.
this is
Right. Right.
this is a weird category for me because it is probably the reason why I haven't played most of the characters that I haven't played. And yet it is also the place where all the
Yeah.
characters that I like the most live. Uh, they just live here temporarily until
Yeah.
I get the uh, Nemora's eggs to try them.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Yeah, that was nice. Um, no, I generally feel the same way. Yeah, I put a note in here that this is the one pillar that heroes have the highest chance of getting out of. Like something that's not cool is never going to be cool to me. Something that isn't stimulating, like doesn't have stimulating abilities, it's never going to become stimulating to me. Things that have a low skill ceiling, like I could just be wrong, and I think on like the outset, I'm like, they seem like just very simple and kind of
Which
low. Yeah, right. Sure. Could be something like that. And then I change my mind, but that happens less. This is the one, though, where same. Yeah. Once I started playing, I mean, I haven't played them very much, but once I just said, I'm going to play Spider Man, I'm going to play Black Panther, I was like, holy crap. Yeah, they're so much fun. It's just hard to kind of grind through that
right,
initial, like,
there's
I
some
am
work to be
bad
done. Yeah.
stage with, yeah, with them. But yeah, cool. Well, that was fun. I think there was a good conversation there. Switching gears, just I think briefly at the end here to at least briefly for me, to talk about when we decide to swap off in a match. I basically have three things. Nothing super deep here, fairly common sense, just like what I think about in order of importance. One is if I'm getting countered. If I'm getting countered and I really think it's because of the matchup or because of the team comps, my team, their team, whatever, I'll switch. I'm not someone to say I'm going to play Namor this match and all I'm going to play is Namor this match. Like there's basically no situation unless a challenge is going to expire in 1 hour and I need to play one hero. Like there's basically no situation where I won't swap if I feel like I'd be more
Yeah.
valuable doing something else. So getting countered. Second thing is if I'm getting tilted. If I'm just like doing really bad for whatever reason, and I think it's because of me, I think it's just like, man, like I suck for some reason right now. I'm gonna swap off and probably play like an easy support or something that is not going to be like really mechanically intense or something. And then the third for me is if I'm getting bored. if I've just been playing a lot of a hero. I've mentioned multiple times throughout this show, variety is the spice of life. And I generally don't like I don't have mains in games very often. There are some exceptions to that, but in general, I like to play if there's like different heroes or different classes. I'm an altaholic in the MMO terms. I play a lot of everything, so sometimes I'll get bored of playing a hero and I'll just
Yeah,
swap to something
I
else.
don't I agree with the getting countered. I think most of the time, if I'm switching, half the time I'm switching on to something that I think the team needs more than what I'm doing, and then the other half of the time I'm like switching off of something I'm doing that I'm like, this is just I'm being hard countered. There's a penny and no
Yeah,
one's going after the spider mines, and I just can't get in there as magic or, whatever it is. That's probably where most of my switching comes from. Um, I don't usually get tilted that much. That's not really a thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
You keep a level. I'm aware that out of our group that plays, that I'm the one that gets tilted the most for sure.
And then the boredom thing, like, I don't know. Like, I I'm usually an alcoholic when it comes to MMOs, but I don't usually get bored of a character mid game. Like, it's not usually like mid game that I'm like, oh man, I've been playing a lot of them. Usually, if I feel like I've been playing a lot of them, I just don't pick them at the beginning. Um, But I don't usually
Yeah,
have
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
problem of
yeah.
like 3 minutes in, I'm like, oh, I can't do this anymore. Usually, if I'm feeling that way, it's probably really just because I'm getting countered and I'm just going in and dying constantly. So, I think for me, it mostly just
Yeah.
comes down to counterplays and stuff like that.
I kind of want to revise my board. I think it's less. I mean, it does happen, but I think it now that, because you said that, I think it is less that I'm bored with a hero and more that just another hero
Okay.
excites me more in that moment. I actually had that happen today where I was playing Cloak and Dagger, and like Cloak and Dagger is my well, Loki is now, but Cloak and Dagger was my most played strategist. Um, and I was just like, you know what? I really want to play Jeff right now. So mid match, like we had a Luna, I swapped to Jeff. I was like, sweet, I'll get that power up, and
Yeah,
away
no,
we
that makes
go.
sense. If we're
So
talking quick
yeah,
play, I'll do that too. Where I usually that even though is still like kind of a counterpick thing of just I see like, oh, the other team is set up where if I play this
hmm,
character, it's gonna be good. And I'm not doing it so
yeah,
much because I'm trying
for
to
sure.
win as much as just it seems fun to wipe the floor with people for a little bit. You know what I mean? So but
Yes,
again,
yes,
as we always do with these
yeah.
conversations, I'm usually thinking comp in my head. And so I'm thinking like I have to be good here. So most of my switching has to do with that. But
You know what's so funny about this too, and there's so much for me to unpack here. I only get tilted in comp. I think I can say that pretty affirmatively, and I think it's just like I take so much pressure on myself when we play comp, that when I feel, and I think that's why I hesitate to play comp. I think that's why I want
yeah,
to play comp the least out of our group, because, and like I do want to play comp. Like I want to
I
rank
just
up. I
want
want
Dick
to
and
see
Van,
how high
man.
we can climb. Man, those games where I know those games where we play, I still think about that. I can't like that one game we played like a couple weeks ago with our whole group, and we just like our communication was on point. We were focusing target after target. We like annihilated them. That feeling is so good. But when comp goes bad, it's so awful for me because of how like frustrated with myself I get. And at least that's a good thing. I do like never get mad at teammates. That's like just not a thing that happens. I get frustrated with randos when they suck. But like with teammates, I genuinely like I'm not like hiding it. I don't get frustrated with teammates. I just get
Yeah,
frustrated with myself.
yeah.
But
There's a lot to talk
anyway,
about there.
there's
I get
yeah.
frustrated with teammates when they're like
Yeah.
being a jerk. Like that. That's hard for me because I'm like, you're
Yes.
literally making us lose
Yeah, yeah,
because you're
yeah.
making us
No,
fight ourselves
100%.
rather than the other team. Like, come on. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's
Oh
no way
yeah.
to address
No, I
that.
do
Like it's like
too.
a don't feed the trolls kind of thing. Like there is no constructive way to tell a random person on your team like shut up and play the game. Like it doesn't work, right? Like they always just yeah. So
Yeah.
that's where I get tilted is because I'm like I have to play with this person and I can't I can't like do anything
Yeah.
conversationally to get them to shut up and like be on the team
Right.
again because
Right.
they're just gonna like feed off of
Yeah.
it and get worse. And so then you're just like,
Yeah.
well, I guess I'm taking the loss points here and moving on.
Yeah. I totally get that. I totally get that.
It's a weird place for this topic to end, but here we
Well,
go.
cool.
Um,
Yeah.
let's get into. I guess we're gonna call this game "Armed and Dangerous" because of the clip Marcy decided to play last week with it. Uh,
Well, not just because of that. I feel like we're seeing which team is better equipped, to deal with the other one and
sure.
defeat
Okay.
them. Okay,
All
dangerous.
right, that's
Yeah,
fair.
armed and
All right,
dangerous.
Sebastian, take us in.
Hey chat, Sebastian Stan here, armed and dangerous again.
All right. Well, if you missed last week, this is a little podcast game we're going to be playing. Each week that we do this, we draft a 6-person team against the other person's 6-person team, and we use the matchup data off of Rivals Meta to figure out which team is more likely to win.
Yeah.
We're going to do team exclusive heroes again. Yeah, we're not going to have
Yeah.
mirrors. Okay.
I think so.
This week I added a feature to let us have the game give us 2 options for a slot. We have to pick between them rather than us just and widow every
Trying
time.
to screw each other over. Exactly. Yeah.
So
I
this
think
might
this
be
makes it more
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. This will be a little more fair and a little more interesting. So
Yeah.
you want to be on the left this time and
Sure.
go first? Okay.
Mhm.
So your first nominate options are Penny Parker or Thor.
All right. I'm going with Penny.
All right. And then that gives me Emma Frost or Magneto. Ooh.
Ooh.
I'm going with Emma.
Dang.
I'm going with Emma.
Wow.
All right. You can get for your first duelist Moon Knight or Winter Soldier.
Well, I mean, I gotta pick Winter Soldier, especially today.
All right. And I get Black Widow or Moon Knight. I guess I'm taking Moon Knight.
No, you coward.
All right. First strategist. Invisible Woman or
Ooh.
Rocket.
It's Rocket Raccoon
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
And
No
I get
team up with Bucky anymore, though. Rip.
Yeah. I get Mantis or Jeff, so I'm gonna take Mantis. I know how the stats work. All right. Second Vanguard pick. Magneto or Hulk.
Ooh. Okay. Well, we got Penny. I got to go Magneto. Yeah.
Okay. And for my second Vanguard, I can get Hulk or Captain America.
Ooh.
Oh man. I'll go Hulk. Let's do Hulk.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, let's spice it up.
Yeah.
Duelist, do you get Black Widow or Squirrel Girl?
Sweets. 2 of my bottom wants.
Yeah, but one of them's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
be a worse pick for the stats. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's the Squirrel Girl.
All right. And for my last duelist, I get Scarlet Witch or Hela.
Oh.
Let's see.
All right. With your heart or your head, Nick?
I know. That is pretty much what this is. You know what? I don't know. I'm gonna take Hela.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, last pick, strategist. Invisible Woman again or Loki.
Yeah, it's Loki.
All right. And my options
Especially
are
with Rocket.
Luna or Cloak and Dagger. Ooh.
Dang. Wow. You
This is pretty meta.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take Cloak and Dagger.
I actually though, I feel like this is fairly close. I'm not sure who's gonna win.
Yeah, this is a lot closer than last week. It turns out I've got like less than a percentage of more chance
my gosh.
to win. So I got this one, but barely. Your SVP is Rocket Raccoon, of course, and your LVP is Squirrel Girl, and my MVP was Hulk, which is not what I was expecting.
How interesting.
And my LVP was Moon Knight.
Yeah,
these are like
weakest.
These really are based on, because it's just matchup data against all the other heroes. The win rate really is going to be based on like which heroes are the best individual fighters, more so than well, no, not really, because it's which ones win the most games when they're on the team against the other one. So there's a little bit more nuance there. But
yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
but that is about as close as I expected. I didn't. If there was like a big runaway, I would have been really shocked. So,
yep.
but crap, dude, come on, 0 and 2.
I know. I know. Well, next week you'll
Yeah,
probably take me. I
this needs
believe
to
in you.
not be a thing. I don't want to be a loser.
All right. Cool. Well, let's get to our hero spotlight.
Heck yeah.
All right, this week for our hero spotlight, we have Winter Soldier. I'm pretty excited that this is the hero spotlight because he's not just like barely the next one. He's like past a lot of the characters that I've already done hero spotlights on now, and I
Yeah.
never thought that was going to happen with Winter Soldier. So
No, that's super cool.
he's kind of my favorite character right now. Don't tell my classic mains, but he's my
Well,
fifth
this
hero
is the
spotlight.
perfect
My-
opportunity to steal your girl.
It is because I'm not playing her.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my fifth hero spotlight, but he's currently my fourth most played character, which is above 2 because there's Doctor Strange in there, which wasn't my hero spotlight.
You know what
and
else that's above?
I only picked him up in season 2. What else is that above?
He's above my most played. He's my 33rd most played character. According to the log, which we just got through a conversation of me denying its validity.
Yeah.
But anyway, conjecture. There are dozens of us though who feel this way. Just look on Reddit. Dozens.
Well, and the ones that are below him for you are like Star-Lord and the Punisher, which you've never played. And then Iron Fist and Black Widow, which you have like 5 minutes on, right? So he's
Yeah.
really low down there. You've maybe
Yeah.
played like a game of Winter Soldier.
Right. Well, and we did discover that all of the like seasonal game modes don't count. So I played both Widow and the Punisher in this game mode. I did play him for the first time, but it counts as 0. But anyway, I've played according to this, I played 10 minutes of Bucky. So, yeah.
Well, hopefully I can inspire you to play another 10 minutes of Bucky.
I already, just in like trying to not have literally nothing to say, I've tried to like watch some of his gameplay and stuff. I already actually am. I'm like, I really want to play him now. So I'm excited for what you have to say.
Yeah, I think the part of you that like pulls out Hawkeye and Namor and goes like 42-3 is like primed to be a disgusting Bucky. Like I think when you actually pick him up, he probably falls in that last category of just like you just didn't feel like you were ready for him.
I hope so. I hope so.
He flows so great. It just feels great. Anyway, we should I want to get there, but we got to get through his story stuff first. So
lay it out for us.
Yeah, so James Buchanan Barnes is Bucky's full name.
Awesome.
And he was named after the 15th president of the United States, James Buchanan, who I can't remember any trivia facts about at this moment. So
if you would have listed James Buchanan with 2 other names of potential presidents, I probably would have gotten it wrong.
Which is wild. Just imagine like you're the president of the United States and like 100 years later or 200 years later, people are like,
who you
I don't know
are.
who that is. Yeah. Anyway, Bucky, both of his parents died young. His dad ends up dying in basic training at Camp Lehigh, which is the like Marvel basic training camp for all the U.S. related heroes. And so he convinces the U.S. government to let him stay at the camp and basically be like adopted by the government and just go through training when he gets old enough.
Holy crap.
So he's basically a soldier from childhood, just waiting until it's not child soldierness. But
that's an interesting flow of logic. You killed my dad. Now you have to be responsible for me.
Yeah, well, apparently it was like an accident that happened, and like him and his dad are both super patriotic and like want to keep going. But at some point during World War I, while he is still a teenager, he gets assigned to follow Steve Rogers around, and finds out by walking into his tent or whatever at the wrong time that he's Captain America.
Oh man!
Finds out
So
a secret.
the childhood friendship in the MCU is a lie.
Well, it's real to the MCU. It's
Well,
a
yeah.
multiverse.
But-
I actually like the MCU way that they did it, but you know, for the large portion of the beginning of his story, he's like the Robin to Captain America's Batman, like the child sidekick, right?
yeah.
And him, spoiler alert, but him dying is actually used. Basically, Stan Lee didn't like child sidekick superheroes, like just the idea of like
Mm-hmm.
superheroes putting a kid in danger constantly is like, why would that be a thing?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
he
yeah.
didn't
You're
really
right,
want to do them.
Stanley.
Yeah, he didn't really want to do them, but they were big because Batman, Robin, and stuff, and you know, like Supergirl and a bunch of other characters that DC was doing. So they kind of used Bucky's death as like an excuse in universe for why other superheroes don't have kid sidekicks, just because it went so terribly,
Yeah.
you know, really early. So that's interesting.
Wait, how
But
old was he?
he's like 13, 14, I think,
Oh gosh.
in like the early things.
He's a literal child soldier.
Well, yeah, because he's like not technically a soldier, but he decides to superhero with Cap or what.
Yeah,
I forget what it is that they use him for, but he might be like a messenger boy. Or, I don't know, but anyway, he secretly joins Cap on missions for a while in World War II, and then eventually, as he's getting older, he serves in World War II with Cap, Namor, the Jim Hammond, the original Human Torch, and a mutant named Toro as the Invaders, which we covered a bit in the Namor Hero Spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
And then at one point, Cap and Bucky are chasing Baron Zemo, and Bucky gets his arm stuck on the wing of a booby-trapped airplane, and Cap tries
You said
to...
trapped.
I did. Cap tries to save him, but ends up plunging into the English Channel instead, and that's where he gets frozen in an iceberg.
Crap.
And then the plane explodes, which seemingly kills Bucky for 40 years of real world time. But
Killed for 40 years.
But in 2008, you find out, or 2004, they go back and say actually that he just lost his arm and fell into the water and became frozen as well.
Crazy.
So basically, I mean, when he died like a very, very long time in real world time. Like, I'm gonna spoil the first appearances then. So he dies in a comic in 1968, and he is not in Marvel Comics again until 2004 when they do the Winter Soldier comic. So
and we thought the build up between the Elder Scrolls
yeah.
5 and 6 was long.
Yeah, right.
Jeez.
Yeah, for a long time there was a joke that the only people who stay dead in comics are Bucky, Jason Todd, and Uncle Ben. And now with Winter Soldier and Red Hood, basically, Uncle Ben is the only one of that trio who still stays dead.
Dang. Rip.
Yeah. Anyway, so he's dead, and then you pick up in 2004. They started the Winter Soldier storyline. So they pulled Bucky out of the annals of comic book history, and said that what really happened there was he lost his arm from the plane explosion and fell into the water and was frozen as well. And then he gets quote rescued by a Russian submarine that's trying to find Cap to get the super soldier serum from his body. But they find Bucky instead. They take him, give him a bionic arm, and basically he gets brainwashed and becomes the Winter Soldier, which is very similar to how the MCU plays it from there. Although different than the MCU. For a while, he's out of cryo, and he trains Black Widow at the Red Room Academy.
Whoa.
In the comics, Black Widow is a lot older, but also has like the Black Widows have like some version of the Russian version of this super serum that slows their aging too. So her and Bucky are both a lot older than they look, and so they fall in love. And but at some point, the Soviets deem him unstable and put him in cryo whenever they don't need him for an assassination. And then you get what you see in the MCU, where he just gets woken up to kill someone and then gets put back and, you know, constantly brainwashed and that whole thing.
Huh. So is that where the Mrs. Barnes arc comes from, I wonder? Is like a spin on that where they stay together?
Yeah, the Mrs. Barnes one was there. There's like an 1800s alternate
Oh, I see.
timeline,
That's just total alternate.
but because the characters because the characters are together, um, and then apart, and then together and apart for real. Like in a lot of alternate timelines, they end up being married.
Yeah.
Um,
Interesting.
so eventually, he and Cap both go after Red Skull at the same time. We're in the 21st century now. Everyone's been unfrozen, and um, so they both go after Red Skull, and they separately, and they meet up and fight because now they're on opposite sides of things, and he's still brainwashed and everything. And it plays out very similarly to how the Winter Soldier movie does, where Cap is trying to, like, once he realizes it's Bucky, he's trying to get him back, and
Yeah. Right.
Um,
Right.
In the comics, however, Red Skull has some sort of like cosmic cube doohickey that does things.
Oh, like
and kind of, but it's not the Tesseract.
Yeah,
but it
yeah.
does, things. And one of those things that it does is somehow he uses it to restore Bucky's memories. So,
Okay.
so then Bucky is filled with an incredible amount of remorse for being an assassin for a really long time, and does very similarly to his MCU counterpart, tries to figure out how he's going to redeem himself. Couple random things is just like when Cap died for a while, he became Captain America, and took on that mantle. And then when Cap came back, he ended up faking his death at some point for other reasons, and took the Winter Soldier mantle back up, and let Cap be Cap again. But so the MCU, will have Bucky use Cap shield every once in a while.
Yeah.
And the twist at the end of Endgame, or him handing it to Sam at the end of Endgame, was kind of a twist because Bucky had been Captain America before, and I think we're expecting that's where we were going. I still want to see that. I think it would be cool, but it looks pretty solid that they're not doing that at this point, because they've given them very different stories. But
I'm surprised that they never tried to do any, even just as like a reference, that they never tried to do anything with him and Black Widow in the MCU.
I am too, actually. Yeah. But they changed her story quite a bit for the Black Widow movie, like putting it a lot, like she's not older.
I have to see it.
She's not older than she looks, so like Red Guardian is kind of more of a father figure rather than being her same age, and like all sorts of different things like that. So I think maybe they just decided, since Bucky really was from all the way back then, and they didn't have her doing that, like they didn't want to have the age gap. I don't know what they were thinking there, but it would have been cool.
Yeah.
And then most currently in the MCU, you've got the Thunderbolts thing going on, which I hope I can see in the next few weeks now that it's out. And he has led or joined the Thunderbolts a couple different times with different rosters throughout comic book history.
Cool.
All right. Powers. Initially none. And then later on, he got a version of the Super Soldier Serum called the Infinity Formula from Nick Fury, which has all the expected Super Soldier powers, including complete lack of aging. So that's pretty cool. Apparently, it's so effective that he doesn't even have to live a healthy lifestyle if he wants. He will just still be awesome. So his real superpower is being able to eat as many Doritos as he wants and still have washboard abs.
Dude,
that's the true superpower we all want.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he's got his bionic arm, which has a lot of cool, really random things. One of them is it has sensors that allow him to calculate and throw and bounce items extremely accurately. So when he does have Cap shield, he can do it just as good as Cap and throw it and bounce it off of multiple people and have it come back to him.
Okay. Yeah.
A little bit of a comic reason for that shield doing all the things that it shouldn't be able to do. As Spider-Man points out, that thing doesn't obey the laws of physics. And then his arm can reload weapons automatically, which is hey, they took that exactly for the game. That's really cool.
In the game.
I didn't know about that, so when I saw that as an ability in the game, I was like, "That's a weird thing to give him." But apparently, it's not a weird thing to give him.
Sure, it's not just a post Marvel Rivals retcon.
No, it's from a while ago.
Yeah.
His weapons have those cool palm print sensors that mean that only he can shoot them, and his apparently will explode if anyone else tries to use them. So
Dang,
that's
that's
cool.
expensive.
Yeah. And then he can discharge a bunch of different things from the arm, like electricity, fire, or EMPs, which is pretty
Hey,
cool.
also in the game.
Also in the game. So, I'll leave you with one Winter Soldier trivia, which is why is he called Winter Soldier? It's a
Yeah,
really random name.
I know. I've wondered that multiple times, and this whole time I was thinking that, and I'm glad that you have it on here because I want to know. I assumed because he was frozen, and
I
that
thought
just
so too.
makes that just
Or
makes
it's just
sense.
like a
But
Siberia, Russia, like it's always
yeah,
winter
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
reference.
yeah. Uh-huh.
It's actually a American patriotism quote related thing. So it actually fits his Bucky persona more than his Soviet assassin persona, which I think is
Ah.
really interesting. It's a Thomas Paine quote uh,
Thomas Paine.
from 1776.
Hmm.
Uh, some things happened that year. And the quote is, "These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and sunshine patriot will in this crisis shrink from the service of his country, but he that stands it now deserves the love and thanks of men and women." So the implication with the
Ah,
name, in the quote, it's a summer soldier. The implication being that the winter
yeah.
soldier is the one who continues to fight through even when it's tough and
Wow,
thankless and stuff. I
that's
think
really
that
cool.
name is like way cooler now.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
That's really awesome. I
it's
like
pretty
that a
metal.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay.
All right.
That's sick.
Well, first appearance, December 1940, as
Dude.
in Captain America Comics #1 as Bucky. He dies in a comic in 1968, and then Captain America Volume 5 #1 in November of 2004. He's
Jeez.
back as the Winter Soldier. That is quite a while.
That's wow. That's crazy. What is Captain America? You have your volume 5 #1?
Yeah, well, I mean, they have multiple. I mean, they already had Captain America #1 in like the 40s. So
Well, yeah, that's
whenever they
I was like, wait
whenever
a
they
minute.
do
Is it,
another
yeah, yeah,
run,
yeah,
they
yeah.
have
I
to.
see.
Yeah,
I see. Yeah. Cool, cool, cool.
yeah. So when they were doing the MCU, like the Winter Soldier, I mean, the Winter Soldier movie only came out in like 2014
Yeah.
or something like that.
Right.
It
So
was only
that's
like
like
10
fairly
years after.
fresh.
Yeah, he was a pretty relatively recent
Wow.
discovery, which
Yeah,
I think is
he's the
super cool.
newest one then. He's like, I mean, well, obviously we've done newer stuff now with like the Eternals and stuff, but
I
like
was gonna
at
say, I
least
think
initially.
I think Sam Wilson Captain America might be newer than that, but
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah. Oh,
I think
yeah, for sure. But
he
at
may
the
have been like
time,
mid 2010s or something like that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow, very
Yeah.
cool.
All right, and then first appearance in the MCU. As always, there's a Easter egg that's the first appearance rather than actually the movie they're in. In
Oh,
Iron Man 2, there is
geez.
in Howard Stark's like box of junk that Tony's going through, where he finds the plans for the uh,
Yeah.
element. There's a classic Captain America comic in that box that has the like Nightmare Fuel 1940s Bucky on it, where his
Oh,
face is just like terrifying.
oh
Uh,
no. How
so yeah,
funny.
he was there just on a comic, which means that in the MCU there are like Marvel Captain America and Bucky comics with
Nice.
him as a kid, even though he wasn't a kid in World War II. So figure that how you want, but
It's
um,
something that got left behind from the time stream.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or they just had very specific artistic liberties that the comic book people, you know, did there. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so his first appearance is as Bucky in Captain America: The First Avenger,
Mhm.
where he loses an arm and falls off a train. And then he appears as the Winter Soldier in surprise, surprise, Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Yep.
Probably
So
still
good.
one of like the
Oh yeah.
top two MCU movies in my book
Yep.
ever.
Yeah.
Um,
I still there are a few scenes that I will still just like every couple months I'll look them up just to watch them again. And Bucky's like fight scene
oh
with
my
the
goodness,
gang
yeah.
is the one of my favorite shots, like maybe in like any movie, where Tony Stark gets the Iron Man's glove just enough to like grab the gun when Bucky pulls the trigger, and like Tony Stark's face of like shock, it is just so good.
Yeah. And then just fun MCU trivia. One of the creators of the Winter Soldier character actually cameoed as a Hydra doctor repairing his arm in the
How
Winter Soldier.
cool! Oh, that's
So
awesome.
one of the shots of
I love
him going
that.
back in or coming out of the crowd freeze, there's
I love that.
someone fixing his arm. That's the guy who created him. One of the people. All right, voice actor and rivals, Elijah Mountjoy, and what else? What else has he done? Not as much as a lot of the voice actors that we look at for rivals. Kind of like the Cloak voice actor was. He's a pretty recent voice actor.
Yeah,
He was few things: Bastion in Fire Emblem Heroes,
yeah. Never played it.
Skararaki in Octopath Traveler 2. I think
Also
is a
never
pretty
played it.
major role for that. But then mostly it's like a couple other characters, some mocap work, some commercials. Relatively new, but I think he does a fantastic job with Winter Soldier in this.
Yeah.
Like I
Oh my
really like
gosh.
his voice. I really like the way that he plays him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has like I love like I'm a sucker for some rage in like a voice line delivery, and man, yeah, he nails he nails the armed and dangerous.
Yeah.
Ironically, much more than the MCU Bucky did, but yeah, that was yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I think he lends something to the performance that like didn't have to be there. That's like there's just it feels like there's a lot more depth than just like uh grizzled like angry like
mm-hmm.
war war hero guy. Like I don't know, like they did something with him where like a lot of his conversations with other characters just feels like there's a lot more in that character
Mm,
than there I guess needed to be if you
yeah.
just wanted to have like cool like edgy guy,
Yeah,
um,
yeah. See, and because I haven't played him very much, I haven't got to, or I just haven't like paid attention or heard many of those conversations with him. So another thing to look forward to when I start playing him after this.
yes.
So yeah, getting into his abilities. So his left click, his normal attack is, of course, his hand cannon, Rotterstern. So he fires explosive rounds with his blaster, damaging the target and hitting enemies behind them. So single straight line projectile generates a spell field on impact. Of course, it has 3 rounds in the chamber. You can fire pretty quick, 2.5 rounds per second, and then the something I actually didn't know about the spell field that the cone behind enemies before this. I just thought it was a hand cannon.
I'll be
So
totally real with you. I didn't either. Like I knew that I did a
yeah,
lot of damage and
right.
somehow was doing it to groups, but I I didn't know either.
Yeah,
And
I
we didn't mention this right at the beginning like we normally do, but
hmm. Oh yeah.
he's a duelist, and when in the sub rules he falls into a brawl poke kind of hybrid.
Yes, yes. So yeah, there's a scone. There's a scone. There's a scone. There's a cone-shaped spell field, 5 meter radius, and it does 65 damage. So that's the same. I think his does 70. Yeah. Oh, 75 damage for the projectile. So that's like most of the damage in that spell field. It's very cool. Yeah, he can. Critically hit. He can't like double dip with the damage. So if they take damage from the shot, they can't take damage from the spell field as well. And then, yeah, he has some damage fall off at 20 meters, decreasing all the way to 60% at 40 meters. So not really snipeable, but
Yeah, that's why I brought up the brawl poke thing
yeah,
in that order. Is one of the things that scared me off from him initially was thinking that this was like a long range hand cannon and that
right.
he was a like another Hela or like
Yeah,
another Hawkeye, and he
sure.
really isn't. He really
Yeah,
like you can almost think of it as you have a little shotgun in your hands because of the. I mean, you do have to hit the first target, but it spreads from there to other people around it, and it's really more of a mid-range kind of thing. So you can use them to
right.
poke flyers. I'll end up using him for that. But a lot of times I'm actually trying to pull them in closer to me or knock them out of the sky, which we'll get to.
Sure.
It's not so much just shooting him from a distance, but he really is. You want to be playing kind of mid range in the middle of your team, kind of in that right behind the front line, right in front of the back line kind of spot is where his main attack, and then definitely all of his other things are going to be most useful.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, the closer they are too, the higher chance you're going to have at landing that absolutely ridiculous headshot of 130 damage per hit.
Yeah.
Like that's landing 2 headshots on any squishy, or basically any duelist or strategist is going to kill them.
Yeah.
So
well, and the 75 projectile damage on this thing. Okay, so you have 3 shots, but it only takes you a little bit more than a second to shoot all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And at 75 damage, if you just body shot someone with all 3 of them,
a
squishy has 25 health left, just off the bat.
Yeah, 225.
And you're never just using your left click.
Right, exactly. So. Yeah. Well, and you are never really having just 3 bullets, which is we're gonna kind of skip ahead because it's so important to his passive. So ceaseless charge. Roderstern reloads automatically. They're dipping into his lore while the bionic arm is in action, granting bonus health to the Winter Soldier. So with his bionic hook and tainted voltage, he gets 40 bonus health. When he uses Trooper's Fist or Kraken Impact, he gets 50 damage per hit with that. And then if he uses Stellar Impact, which is the team up, he gets 30 bonus health.
Yeah. So this, again, is the other thing of like, the reason why he's really a brawl character is because you are constantly using these abilities and getting getting those extra bonus health off of things. So you really are never sitting at your base health value. You're pretty much always sitting somewhere around 325, 375, something like that when you're brawling.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that's something that I think I haven't thought about much when like just looking at Bucky and his kit. I forget. I know that it reloads. I don't know why. The second part of it is so easy for me to forget. I know that it reloads his gun, which is cool, but I forget that it like allows him to stay in the fight and be more brawly, which is, I mean, a huge part of what makes him so viable on so many team comps and what has kept him so dominant even with the nerfs.
Yeah. So I just went to go look it up because I wasn't entirely sure. He's a 275 base health. So he's already a little bit tankier than like a squishy.
Yeah.
So then you just figured out like when you've got most of his abilities going on, you're sitting at 315, 325 most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. That's great. So moving on to his right click, his bionic hook. So he does a charge up and launches a hook with his bionic arm, reeling in the first target hit and enemies lurking behind. Wait, what? I didn't know. I'm reading this. I didn't know that either until right this second. What the heck? I've never read this ability description before.
Yeah, I hadn't really read them either. And after like reading through that, I was like, you know what? There have been times where I felt like a large group of the team has like shifted around. I don't think that the collateral pulls are like as far. I think you mostly just pull the person that you actually hit. But if you do have a team that's like super grouped up, I think it definitely will like pull them a little bit towards you, which is, I don't think something that you can attempt to do all the time, but it's a nice bonus to get some extra CC when you hit it.
Yeah, well, I mean, shoot, it says, so there's a 4.5 meter cone shaped spell field radius behind that, which is, dang, that's crazy. Well, yeah, so straight line projectile, 12-second cooldown. This was one of his nerfs, a huge one, because it came from, what was it, 8 seconds?
It was 8, yeah.
Yeah, 8 seconds. That's nasty, getting that third. But yeah, so 10 meter range with a 0.5 second charge time. Oh, wait. Okay. So explain this to me. So as the charge time increases, it can reach a oh my gosh. So you don't just click it, you charge it up.
Yeah, so if you just release it really quick, it has a 10 meter range. it takes a half second to wind it up and send it out immediately, and it'll do a 10-meter range. If you charge it up to 1 second, which isn't a very long charge
Yeah,
time
no.
when it already takes half a second anyway, then it can reach 20 meters.
Wow.
The remaining charge time, the like after 1 second to the 4 second max,
Yeah, it's
is
just
not
nothing.
actually making it any better. It's just how long you can hold it before you have to use it.
Right.
And if you go past that 4 seconds, though, it will not automatically do it. It'll just waste it. So you'll get the ability on cooldown, but you won't have done anything.
Mm.
So there's no way to like cancel it once you get it started. You really need to like save it for moments that you know you're going to hit someone. So
Yeah. Right.
you know, from time to time you end up wasting it just because something on the battlefield changes from when you thought you needed it. But
Right.
the half second isn't that bad where you can't just, you know, charge it up when you need it.
Yeah. This is his ability that like I, from a distance, like the most.
Yeah.
Roadhog was one of my main characters, and one of my main tanks as well, obviously in Overwatch. I love me some hooking. You know,
Yep.
it's just such a satisfying ability. We've talked about how we love like displacement abilities, and I mean this is the king.
This one is a crowd pleaser too. Like when we're playing with a full team,
Yeah.
my most exciting like moments of feeling validation as a Winter Soldier player is when you hear pure chaos and then you hit the hook, because it's not
Yes.
actually that hard because she's floating around. You hit the hook, pull her in, you know, punch her a couple times and kill Scarlet Witch really easily, and the entire team on Discord just goes,
Ah! And for you listeners who heard Nick's mic completely cut out at the volume, it was a cheer of excitement.
yeah.
It
This and
happens
then
to the
the
best
ult
of
when
us.
you get a good ult chain. There's plenty
Yes.
of times on Winter Soldier where your team will make you feel good if you get
Yep.
something good going.
So an interesting thing here, and it just shows the careful balance. The projectile damage does 15. Funny enough, the spell field, so the cone behind does 20 damage. It does 5 more. But you just barely can't kill a 250 with the wombo combo of the like 3 body shot, like a pull and 3 body shots or something like that. But I guess if you get like anything more than 1 shot off before you use the hook's going to reload you, and then you can pop 3 off. I mean, and if any of those are headshots, obviously they're dead. But oh man, I'm already like,
Yeah,
I want to play Bucky right now.
and you can also counter it pretty easy with the Trooper's Fist as soon as you pull them in, which we'll get to in a little bit. You can also weave in a melee, and it's going to do the 10 damage you need to finish them off. So like,
Right.
You know, but honestly, with the hook, a lot of times what you're trying to do is you're trying to pull someone out of position. A lot of times, if you can pull the tank into your team, that's good. And there is a tech here where it's going to throw the character. It's going to pull them to wherever Bucky is looking once he pulls them in.
Yeah.
Not where he started from. So if you do it well enough, you can get the hit marker from hitting the hook and then spin around really quick, and you can actually throw them behind you a little bit.
Yeah, just like Roadhog.
Yeah. And then on top of that, the Trooper's Fist ability, which we'll get to, will also knock them back further. So you can really spin people all the way into your team, and throw them in your own backline, basically, where they're way out of position.
That's all I need to hear.
That's pretty nice.
That's one of the reasons why I love Emma so much. The ability to just suplex people and send them back.
Yeah, this is the Emma Diamond Form thing with more skill shots. Basically.
Right. Oh gosh. Oh no. I'm scared. I'm scared that I'm really gonna love Bucky.
Don't be scared. Embrace it.
Yeah. All right. So E, Tainted Voltage. So he charges up and launches a powerful electrical punch with the bionic arm in the target direction, dealing damage to enemies within range and slowing them. It can also knock down flying heroes. So has a slight trajectory. It's not a true straight shot. It does 55 damage. It slows them by 35% for 2 seconds. This ability only has a 6-second cooldown, so a lot of uptime. And it pierces, so it doesn't just hit the first target. It'll go through anything within that range, which actually isn't mentioned here. It's like mid range. It doesn't go super far, right?
No, it just kind of travels on until it hits a wall, I believe.
Really? Are you
Yeah,
serious?
it goes for a long distance at least.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
because I'll use it to pull flyers out of the air quite frequently.
Oh, wow.
Because that's something that's not mentioned. Well, no, it is mentioned. It says it can knock down flying arrows. So
Yeah, yeah.
if someone who's flying gets hit by this, they just lose their ability to fly for a few seconds at least. I think it's just during the slow duration, the 2 seconds. But
Yeah.
that means that you can use this to get a Human Torch or an Iron Man or a Storm that are way up there and out of the way, out of your range. You can get them to travel all the way down to the ground where you can get them with a hook really easily and finish them off. This is the way to fly fish flyers, basically. You hit them with this. It's got a huge radius. Knock them down to the ground. Pull them in. Kill them. It is so much fun.
Yeah.
This is probably the ability that I like the most in his kit, which it's not the big flashy one,
Right, right.
but it is consistent. It's your most like it's the one you use the most quite frequently, and it's the one that I think
yeah.
about the most.
6-second uptime. I mean, you
Well,
have a lot of chances.
and now it's 3 seconds because
Oh,
this last patch they gave him
What?
a second charge of this.
oh, right, right. I forgot about that. Oh my
So
gosh. Wow,
yeah.
even more. Oh my goodness.
I almost said this in the podcast patch notes, but I was like, we're gonna do the hero spotlight. I'll wait. Oh my goodness, this Bucky buff is like the greatest thing that's ever happened to me in a video game. It is so much fun. They
my
figured
gosh.
out a way after all of the nerfs that like took a lot of the fun out of it. They figured out a way to like not give him that back, but make him so much more fun. And you've got two of them that are on a 6 second cooldown, right? Which means they're really, if you spread them out evenly, there's a 3 second cooldown. Now, what you're doing all the time, your typical like go-to kind of cycle like that you're doing, rotation in MMO terms, is you're going to shoot your 3 shots, which take a little bit over a second, so like maybe a second and a quarter, and then you're going to use this ability, and it's going to go on a 6 second cooldown, and then you're going to use the 3 shots that you got back from this, and now you're a second and a half into that 6 second cooldown, and you're going to use the other one and get that back, and it all takes a little bit of time, right? The ability takes maybe a second or two to use. So that's going to get you halfway there to the other one, and you use the 3 shots, and by that time you've got maybe a second, if not none, depending on how quick you find someone to aim at. You almost have 100% uptime on this now, where you can just keep cycling the shooting. Like it just never stops.
I've got my like fingers on the keyboard right now. I'm like, all right, so I press, so I click this and I press that and then I click this. And I'm like, I think this is the most excited I've been during a hero spotlight. Like this sounds so much fun.
It is so much fun. And don't sleep on the slow, like slowing people by 35%.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah.
That's the same as the Invisible Woman,
Yep.
like vortex thing. It's in a smaller area, but and 55 damage too. Like this thing does quite a bit of damage to a group, because it's just hitting everyone that it hits. So when people are grouped up, it's just you just keep launching this, keep shooting shots into the middle of it. It's like Squirrel Girl without anything bouncing. You just do a ton of damage and kill everything. It's glorious.
Dude. Yeah, well, and 55 damage. I mean, my gosh, that alone is really nasty. Man. Well, it's 5-second podcast patch note. Speaking of what you were saying, I used Invisible Woman's shift the way our commenter said, by like popping it in the air, and holy crap, what a difference that makes.
It makes a huge difference. This really is like a miniature version of that Invisible Woman vortex, but as a projectile rather than something that you stop and have it start up, because it'll do the same thing, slowing, pulling people out of the air, all that kind of stuff. So that might be part of why this character clicked for me too, is because as an Invisible Woman player, like this felt like, oh, these are all the utilities that I want in an ability.
Right. This is extra mean Invisible Woman. It's just,
and you get to do it 4 times as often now that there's 2 charges. Right.
So. Well, dang, that's all the abilities he needs. But here we go again. There's even more. His shift, Trooper's Fist. So he dashes forward, seizing enemies along the path and launching up enemies at the end of the dash. So, movement-based ability. It has a 30. He moves 30 meters per second. up to a maximum distance of 9 meters. This has a 12-second cooldown, and then it does 65 knockback damage and 25 seize damage. So does that mean what I think it means? Why are those separated? Yeah,
I'm not sure. I think if because
it's just because it's just sequential, but you always do that full damage. If you impact somebody, you're always doing.
I think
you're
it's
always
if you
doing
impact
the
them,
90 damage.
I think you get the 25 from impacting them
Yeah.
before you move, and then when you drag them with you
Oh.
or hit them at the end, you get the 65. I'm not actually sure how it's broken down, but he kind of basically he like charges up and then dashes forward and then punches up. So somewhere in there, there's some maybe the 25 is from knocking into someone, and 65 is from the punch up. I'm not exactly sure, but what
interesting.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just an interesting thing that I read here is like you think of your other main Magic, who also has a dash. This has a width to it, which is very interesting because Magic's does not. Magic's is basically a skill shot. And we talked about how like Magic's is harder to hit. Like 4 Bucky's right here under the range stat, a 4.5 meter width and a 2 meter height. Like is this as easy to hit as it sounds like it is on paper?
It's pretty easy, yeah.
Dang,
like
okay.
I don't think of this as something that I'm really like trying to aim. It's just kind of like I use it a lot for movement. This is your ability you spam on cooldown when you're trying to get back from spawn. But in battle, it's like if there's someone in front of me that's low, I'll just use this. Like I don't have to really worry about aiming. It's easier to hit than the gun. I'll use it a lot of times after a hook. So hook, shoot, and then use this because they're usually trying to back up and get out with their last little bit of health. And this will dash you forward, hit them again. You can also use the knockback because it knocks them up a little bit. You can use the knockback as just a setup for being able to unload a clip into them. Yes. So, I mean, there's so many things about this ability. It's just a nice little compact package of a whole bunch of little utility, but it's not the flashy one. This is the one that you kind of just like use when you need to. But it's got a lot to it.
I can't remember he had a funny True Vanguard is an old Destiny YouTuber who's also doing Marvel Rivals content right now, and he shows a wombo combo that had a really funny name, and I'm sad I can't. It was like the snore sneeze, and it was anyway. He had a weird reason for why he called it that, but he had it was hook, shoot, and then Trooper's fist, shoot. And exactly what you said. So like you hook them for the displacement, you shoot them, they're point blank, you're not going to miss. Then you Troopers fist them for the damage and uppercut, and then again you shoot them in the air where they can't move and you're not going to miss. And that's the kill combo for anyone other than a Vanguard, basically. Yeah. And you don't even need to land a headshot, or maybe you need to land like the first headshot for when they get right up in your face. I think that's what it was.
I mean, you shouldn't need to because the 3 shots, if you hit them at all, that's true. They're each 225. So you're doing 450 damage just by unloading 2 clips. And then you got the hook, which is doing 15.
Right. He was saying literally just 1 shot, though. So it's hook,
I see.
1 shot. So it's like really quick. Like hook, 1 shot, fist, 1 shot. But
yeah, that'd be like 215 plus the hook plus the... Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, so it's still anyway, that's oh my gosh, I can't wait, and we haven't even gotten to arguably like the coolest thing about it yet, the most clippable thing, which is his freaking Kraken Impact Ultimate, also up there with Reality Erasure for one of the coolest ult names in the game for me. Krakens are awesome. His arm is just like visually one of the most striking ults. It's so freaking metal. Speaks to me on so many levels. Leap high, then dash forward, slam down with a bionic arm, dealing damage to enemies in range, marking them for the culling. Marked enemies will perish instantly if their health falls below the threshold, which got a little bit of a nerf in this last patch. But it'll also recharge the bionic arm for another Kraken impact within a short period if you get the kill. And I think this also reloads his gun, right? This is part of his... Yeah, this is part of the passive. So Spherical spell field, you get to hover in the air for quite a while before you drop it, which is another thing. You can like plan it out. 5 meter spherical radius. The spell field damage is 80. The culling duration is 5 seconds, so he has 5 seconds upon landing it to get a kill on one of those enemies that was hit, or anyone else can get that kill too, is something that I learned in trying to know more than the 10 minutes of playtime that I have, which is cool. So if you're using it in a team fight, like this doesn't, most of the clips you see, Bucky's like chasing enemies back to spawn and then killing them at spawn by himself.
Yeah.
But like in a team fight, as long as somebody gets the kill on someone that you hit, like you're getting that back. The culling threshold, like I said, was nerfed from 20% to 15% now. And then you have the after a culling has happened, you have 8 seconds between kills to be able to use this again.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it runs out and your ult's over. But 3,100 energy cost for the ult, that's low.
That's not that bad.
Man.
And you're doing a lot of damage because you have pretty much constant uptime on being able to shoot. So I mean, you get it really fast when you're doing well. This one, so I mean, it has gotten less consistent that you will get a bunch of retries since the nerf, because a bunch of agains, yeah, because they lowered the amount of damage that you actually do. I think this is still old. I think you do 75 or 70 now, rather than 80. And then on top of that, the percentage went down from 20 to 15. So maybe this is right because it has 15 on there. So you have to get them lower, and you do less damage with this. So you can't really rely on this as just like its own insta kill.
Yeah.
You either need to have unloaded into them first, or at least hit them with like 1 or 2 shots first, or you need to capitalize. And this is what's better for consistency, is capitalize on what your team is doing. So I'll use this when there's a big brawl going on and I see a bunch of teams are getting low, but no one's finishing anyone off, because this is just like an automatic, you can finish people off that are at half health, right? So so then you start using that, and like don't just like double click really quick to get down there. Like you want to let him use there's like a hover in the air that you get from it that will give you enough time to find a target. And then what I'll try to prioritize is, obviously if someone's super low, apparently I found this out reading today. I haven't noticed it, but maybe I've been subconsciously using it. Apparently there's supposed to be like an icon or some sort of indicator on characters that would die immediately if you use this when you're in the air.
It's like a dark red bar.
Okay. Yeah. That actually looks familiar in my head now that you mentioned what it is. So if you see those, then you just go for it, because it's just an automatic redo, and you can just hit the button again and be up in the air with an extra kill and another again. But other than that, like if I'm not sure what I'm trying to hit when I'm up in the air doing this, I'm going to just go for hitting as many people as possible, because like Josiah mentioned, like anyone on your team getting a kill on one of these people refreshes it, right? So you really just, if you can hit most of the team, someone's probably going to die in that time span. But the big thing I would say here is, like, it's really, really tempting when you get going to hit the button as soon as it's available to you, but you have 8 seconds after you get that kill before you have to use it again. So don't just like launch yourself up in the air, because if you miss or there's no one around, you just ended your chain for no reason. But with 8 seconds, like, people have a hard time tracking that. So people start to feel, when you get towards the end of that, people start to feel pretty comfortable that, like, okay, I guess he missed it and he's not going to do it again.
I know. I'm seeing Willem Dafoe gif of him looking up horrified. Like, wait, I thought it was 8 seconds.
I don't think I have enough like presence of mind in the middle of the bloodlust to do this, but I really do want to try to next time I get a good one going, like, play the mind game a little bit of like, do the first couple rapidly when you get the chance, and then as you're gonna have less targets because people are dead and they're running back from spawn, you actually kind of need to drag it out if you want to keep it going for a long time. Then you wait for, start counting Mississippis and do it at like 5 or 6.
Right,
and
right.
let people think they're safe,
Yeah,
But this,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
there's so much to this old, and yeah, I mean, it's insane. It's one of the best ones in the game for sure.
I'm glad. I meant to say this. You were saying that do the mind games. I wanna. I would be remiss if I left out my uninstall wombo combo for Bucky that I wanna pull off to make somebody just instantly quit the game. Okay, all right. So you have a flyer, right? You use your bionic hook to pull the flyer to the ground, and you like punch them. You don't even shoot them. You don't even use the gun. You punch them. They're like, oh my gosh, okay, get out of here. So they start flying away. Then you use tangent voltage to drop them to the ground, and then walk up and you punch them again. Like, oh my gosh, like I got to get out of here. And then you let them fly just about 9 meters away. And you use Trooper's Fist to become the superior flyer and execute them and make them instantly uninstall.
Nice. Yeah, do it.
But okay, all right. So sorry, back to the old. I do have one question before we move on.
Okay.
Something is not adding up here to me. So the culling threshold, I realized, and I don't know if you'll have an answer to this because this is on the spot. The culling threshold makes absolutely no sense now that I'm looking at it. 15%, you would have to have 535 health for that to be 80 damage. Kraken Impact does.
No. Yeah. So
Kraken
it's
15% on top of the 80 damage. On top of the 80.
So the culling percentage, what that is the bottom 15% of the person's health bar doesn't exist for that time period.
Got it. Okay.
So
thank you.
There's a little red
I was
bar.
misunderstanding.
Yeah, there's a little red bar that shows up on the bottom 15% of their health. And if they get to that far, they die instantly.
Got it.
So essentially you just think of it as it took away that much max health, except it's their min health, which is weird. But it just makes it where like so on a 250, I just did the math here. On a 250
left. Yeah.
37 health. So if you get someone down to 37 health, they just die. So add the 80 damage onto that, because in order to give them that, you're hitting them.
Yeah. It's 127 damage.
127. So that's
essentially
half,
is what you're doing. Yeah.
That's half of the 250. So if you see a 250 at half, you can land this on them and kill them.
And you don't have to do that damage with this. You could, let's say they're at 250. Am I understanding that right? Let's say they're at 250. You hit them with Kraken Impact. Now they have the culling duration for 5 seconds. So if you shoot them and that gets them to that 15% threshold, they die. Dang, that is
or if
even
anyone
better
else
than I
does.
thought it was. That's way better than I thought it was.
It used to be 20%, which was
yeah. Right, which is yeah. But okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, we need to move on from Kraken Impact. So he did have the infinite ammo just to cover his past team up. He did have the infinite ammo from Rocket team up that now only the Punisher has with Rocket. That's just even crazier to me thinking about all of this. But it does make sense. Yeah. It is kind of like, it doesn't feel very synergistic, because it forces Bucky to be in one place and be where Rocket is, which is just not his play style. So I like this new team up way better for him. Obviously, I've never used it because I have 10 minutes on Bucky again. But this feels like it makes way more sense for his kit and play style.
Yeah, the unlimited ammo is really nice just for,
his gun does a lot of damage.
220 damage a second for, like 10, 15 seconds, however long that is insane. On everyone with AoE. I mean, it was really, really good, but it did mean that, like, I don't know that people would have liked the unlimited ammo as much with him having 2 charges of tainted voltage, because now you pretty much always have 100% uptime, but you have all the other effects of the tainted voltage slowing people and stuff like that. But back then there was no way to have 100% uptime on not having to reload. So, or even close to it, really, right? You had a gap in it. So the unlimited ammo is really nice. But I will say, just because it reminds me, like, that is the big thing about Winter Soldier that makes him such a blast to play, is that it's a dance. Like, you're just constantly weaving abilities in. So he's a combo character disguised as someone with a hand cannon. And but it's all it's all slow enough, because you have the 1 second plus of shooting in between every time. So you're just kind of dancing back and forth between aim, use an ability, aim, use an ability, and it has a really good flow to it. which is ult captures too, because you have the come up and float and then hit and come. So there's a lot of rhythm to Winter Soldier.
I'm gonna be good with Winter Soldier. Dang it!
You are.
It's gonna happen.
You are, and I'm gonna
All right.
regret it because I'm not gonna get to play him anymore.
Yeah. So his team up, his new team up with Cap for season 2, Stellar Impact. So inspired by Captain America's resolve, the Winter Soldier can leap to the aid of a designated ally, slamming the ground with his mechanical arm to deal damage to nearby foes, and now deal 50 bonus health to allies in range. Additionally, he can use it with Captain America, and they will interact with each other to perform the most patriotic DAP of all time. They collide and unleash a shockwave that deals damage and inflicts slow on enemies. Does it also give Cap 50 bonus health? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
Okay. And then this also is part of his passive, so he gets 30 bonus health when using this ability. So this does 70 damage.
Yeah.
That's solid.
In an 8-meter radius.
Yeah, in an 8-meter radius. That's basically his entire Trooper Fist range, which is
it's bigger. Because that's an 8-meter radius, which means the diameter is 16 meters.
Yes, right.
So that's a bigger circle. It's huge.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure that's not? Are you sure it's not an 8-meter?
That's what a radius is.
Oh, I'm sorry. You said diameter. My bad.
Yeah. So like, this is way bigger than his ult circle, and you're doing 10 damage less than his ult. So it doesn't have the culling threshold. It doesn't set up chains, but like being able to do that every 15 seconds to just get a big 70 damage AoE is huge.
Yeah. Well, and so it says on here clash damage. I assume that's when he uses it with Captain America.
Yes, with Cap it does a little bit extra.
It does 80. It does the full Kraken impact. Yeah. That's crazy. And with an even larger spherical range of 10 meters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's a lot harder to coordinate, right? Because this has the fastball special confirm key thing.
Sure.
So with Cap, with anyone else, you just hit seed, you jump at them and do damage around them and heal them. With Cap, you have to say, "Hey, I want to do this," and then Cap has to go back and say, "Okay, yeah," and then when he does that, it automatically launches you at each other.
Yeah, at the center, right?
And the other one, Cap can start it too, and you can confirm too. But this team up is one of those ones where like the fastball special, you're picking them up like while you're sitting around in the spawn or whatever, and then throwing them. This one is in the middle of battle with two characters that are like really intense in how their playstyle works. So this one, it feels like you really need to know the person that's playing Cap in order to make this work. So I haven't had a lot of success with this yet because I haven't had a Cap that I know to do it with. But I think that if you had a really coordinated Cap and Bucky, this would be really good because Cap's in the back line. You're right behind your front line most of the time. So when you jump towards the middle, you're jumping right into the brawl, like right in the middle. And then you have Cap with a shield like right next to you, kind of defending you. So it seems like this would be a really good way to just soften up an entire enemy team and like start the ult chain, right? Like if you did this with Cap, soften everyone up and then leap into the air and start doing Armed and Dangerous. It seems like a really good way to start that.
Yeah, seriously. Holy crap. Wow. Do you know, I tried like looking it up right now. I can't find what the slowdown is. It's not listed anywhere. Huh. I wonder if it's the same
team
like
ups,
30%.
The team ups they don't give you a lot of information on.
Interesting.
I don't even see it on the hero page. Like it just says
I know. I know. I just checked that too. Huh. Anyway. Well, dang. Well, maybe my first Winter Soldier, you'll have to be my Cap.
And then I want a Cap.
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
so
and then we'll
rotate.
We'll rotate. I'm okay with this because I want to play more Cap too. So cool. Well, let's pick a skin of him that we like the most.
Yeah, I mean, I think I got to go with the new Thunderbolts one. It's the simplest, but that also kind of makes it the cleanest. And I love the Wakandan arm. I think the MCU arm looks really cool. So I think it's that, or it's the recolor of the Blood Soldier one. It's pretty cool.
The Winter's Wrath. That is really
Mhm.
cool. Yeah, I mean, me being an edgelord, it's Blood Soldier is for sure his alternate skin that I like the most. But this is one where I like his original. I
I do
think
too.
yeah, I like his original maybe even the most. I don't know. Maybe if I had Blood Soldier, I'd think differently, but I want to see where they go with him. I want to see more creative skins.
Yeah.
These are all like super tame.
Yeah, I that's my one concern is that like his skins aren't ever really gonna be that interesting.
Yeah,
For such an interesting character, it seems like they haven't really done much with him on the
right.
aesthetic standpoint yet. But the default skin is like so well designed that I almost don't care. Like I don't have a skin for him yet, but I'm kind of holding out for like I want them to try something wacky. Like I want them to
Yeah.
try, yeah.
Well,
I don't
but
know what.
not Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic Wacky, because then I won't want to play Bucky.
No, but like something
I'm just
something
kidding.
really like striking. I don't know.
Yeah. So let's do a run through of the metagame.
Yeah, so pick and win rate. So on the hero hot list for all ranks in comp in season 1.5, he had an 11.2% pick rate and a 51.7% win rate. He was the most picked duelist by far,
Yeah,
and he had the fifth
jeez.
highest win rate. So kind of bucking the, no pun intended, the stereotype of like the most played characters having lower win rates because of it. He
Yeah.
managed to have a pretty high win rate while also being very, very often played, which is why they
Well, and
had
I
to nerf
mean,
him quite a bit.
exactly. Right.
And if you look at Rivals meta for the current data, I don't think this is correct. Like, I think there's something we're missing here, but it looks like it was a pretty big fall.
Mm,
They have him at B tier at a 47% win rate and a 20% pick rate, so he's still being picked quite a bit.
yeah.
Um,
Huh.
but they have him like at 46, 47, like as you go all the way up. I don't feel like I see him being bad in games for real.
Yeah. Well, and I mean that just like the data doesn't add up. Changing 5% culling
Right.
and
Yeah.
increasing, I mean, the hook is honestly the bigger deal, at least from my like outside perspective. Getting that 4-second cooldown increase on the hook feels even worse to me than the 5-second culling nerf.
Yeah,
But
I mean the
neither of
culling
those
nerf,
things are
yeah.
justify that.
The culling nerf was like a 20 damage nerf basically between the two, like on average between the
Yeah,
culling thing and the less damage, which
that's true.
is gonna ruin everyone's like game sense for a while because they're used to
Sure.
being able to finish people easier. But I kind of wonder if this data is just kind of lagging behind the recent change because I think with the second tainted voltage, he's like back to being really, really good. So it might
Yeah.
just be
I
that
bet it
the
is.
data is lagging
I bet
behind a
it
little bit
is.
by a week.
Yeah. So
But
what do
yeah,
you pick Bucky for?
I want to have fun and win. He's just
Hey,
so good and he's
you
so
get to
fun.
do
Like,
both at once. You don't have to
yeah,
pick between Thermite and
yeah.
whoever
I think.
your attacker main was. I don't remember.
I mean, right now he really is kind of like my default character. Like whenever I'm going to a game, I'm trying to get Bucky if I can. And if someone's already got him or there's 3 DPS that insta-lock, then I'm like, okay, well, then I'll switch to something else. Um,
Then
I
I
don't
curse him
really
out in
know.
chat and
Yeah,
say, "Give Bucky or throw."
yeah. I I don't really know when I switch off of him very much, other than if my aim just really isn't working that game.
Sure.
Um, like pretty much any character that has high mechanical skill, like if I just can't do it, I can't
Yeah.
do it. But I don't find that happening as much with him because there's just so much lead that you're pumping out that you don't have to hit absolutely everything.
Right. Well, and you're not like it's a straight projectile. It's a fast projectile speed. It's not hit scan, but it's fast projectile speed. You're already de-incentivized from trying to take like long range, harder to hit shots because of that pretty brutal damage fall off, honestly.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to get headshots to get tons of value
No.
because, like you said, doing doing that much damage in 2 point, it's 2 shots per 2.5 shots per second, like doing that much damage in 1.25 seconds is crazy, even if they're all body shots.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
not much that makes me switch off Bucky. Like he's kind of my default pick and I pick him and I play him.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, I know my final thought is this is by far the most excited I've been after a hero spotlight. Like I really I think, oh man, yeah, I'm so excited to play Bucky.
Yeah, I hadn't played him at all until
Right,
I want
yeah,
to
I
say
know this
three or
is
four
very
weeks
recent
ago,
for you.
and I'm getting pretty close to getting him at Centurion. Uh, like it's just been I mean, he's rocketing up to like he's at the point where if I have another hour of playtime of him, he'll be my second most played behind Magic.
Holy crap.
He'll be way behind Magic, but
Yeah.
getting up there.
Dude.
Yeah, he's definitely my hero for season 2.
Well, based on his pick rate, I don't think any of you listeners really need to be convinced to play more Bucky, but if you, like me, have been generally ignoring Bucky due to, fears about the skill floor or just the complexity of the hero or whatever, I mean, hopefully this helped encourage you to think about it again. Again. It's time for the mailbag and the Reddit take of the week. In our mailbag this week, we have Angel, who writes, "What are your thoughts on solo ulting Jeffs? Every time I see him, I feel inclined to use the Punisher ult to destroy his existence. Even in my sleep, I yearn for Jeff to be smashed by the Hulk." Other than that, great show, 5 stars.
Okay, so this comment, I have some lore about this comment.
Okay.
This was this was flagged by Spotify. That's
Oh no.
potentially being inappropriate or sensitive because of how like violent the language was.
Because it's just Jeff. It's just like a dude's name.
Yeah. So
like I want the Punisher to kill Jeff.
yeah, I was looking at our Spotify one day and I was like, why do we have a comment that needs review? Like, who's angry? And I looked at it and I was like, oh, this is fine. What's going on here? But I just that makes me happy for some reason.
Oh, I love that. The answer is it's always okay to solo ult Jeff. It's a meme for a reason. Maybe I'll share. I'll see if I can share it on our Instagram this week. I just need to find a shareable version. I feel like such a boomer when it comes to social media these days. But there's a great one of Iron Man about to solo ult a Jeff, and he like swims away and climbs up a wall, and it's Venom, Hulk, and oh, who's another wall grabber? Dang it. Oh, yeah, it's Spider-Man, like, all hanging on the wall waiting to kill Iron Man. But, like, the meme is always that Iron Man solo maximum pulses Jeff all the time.
Right, yeah.
Dude, I mean, legitimately, though, if you know that a Jeff has his ult ready, like, if you notice that it's been a long time and you can gauge that for sure, and you are, like, at the end of a game where there's a bolt, where there could be a big Jeff ult eat and an overtime from that, freaking do it, dog.
Yeah.
Be the angel of death and destroy his existence.
I will admit that I've made a few mistakes while attempting as Emma Frost to bait out the Jeff ult, go diamond form while he tries to grab you, and then Carbon Crush, throw him into the ground and kick him into a wall as soon as he comes back out. I've thrown a few games by getting swallowed by not hitting diamond form fast enough, and I've crushed a few Jeffs by doing that correctly, and it's satisfying every time. So 100%. Jeff is annoying, but we love him when he's on our team. Sometimes when they're good, but Jeff is. I have a lot of conflicting feelings about Jeff, so I understand.
Yeah, I love Jeff. He was in my S tier on most fun to play, but he's also on my S tier of one of the most diabolical jerks in the whole game. So
we needed to do a tier list some week.
Yes,
like characters we like seeing on the enemy team the least.
Okay, you went a different direction, but that's funny. I like that. Yeah, that's a good one. I was gonna say we need a tier list on just biggest jerks, and Jeff would be S tier for sure. He's all smiles and cute little grunts and giggles, but behind all that is a
Yeah,
burning rage. Anyway, so we do have a couple of Reddit takes of the week to look at with you today. First one is Nick. Do you want to read through this first one?
Yeah, sure. This one
Sorry,
is
as you
from,
cough,
no, it's
trying
okay.
to sustain yourself.
This is from Master Game Angel on Reddit.
Oh,
They
hey, it's
say
Angel's alt account.
maybe. They say we need more team ups that are not DPS based. From the
Preach.
20 team ups we've received, only 7 are not DPS based, and only 2 have really been useful, the revive ones. One thing that I think will make people want to play more strategist and vanguards is team ups. Personally, I would love to have the team ups between strategists or tanks rather than just giving more things to DPS. Imagine a team up between Loki and Invisible Woman, where Invisible Woman can seep on a Loki clone.
Snap,
If
I
sh-
think.
Snap on a Loki clone if she's invisible. That would be insane, actually.
Yeah.
I would like to hear your ideas.
Yeah, man. 100%. We need the top comment actually is exactly my first thought when reading this. We need Vanguard with support team ups.
Yeah, definitely.
The Groot one, I'm sorry, it just doesn't count. I know I've tried to defend it. I think there is time to use it, but I have to relent and say that that's not it's not meta.
The closest
And then
thing we've got is the Invisible Woman with the thing.
Yep. That's what I was going to say. Well, that's literally the only other one. That's the only other team up with a support and a Vanguard.
Yeah.
So that is definitely a big one. Losing Doctor Strange from the Gamma Bros too, just all that leaves. So the new team up with Emma Frost and Magneto. That's a double Vanguard team up, and then you have Venom Penny, which you don't. I think it is a great team up. You just don't. It's not something I see very often. But all of the other team ups, for the most part, are very DPS focused.
Yeah, I mean you've got the Hela and Thor one where Thor receives the revives. But for the most part, I mean, I didn't realize it until this Reddit take, but looking at it, almost every single team up that has a Vanguard in it, they are the anchor, giving a DPS character another ability.
Yep.
Even the new Cap and Bucky one, although Cap can initiate it too. So I guess that one's a little bit more even. They're both getting something from that. But I mean, truly, like it's pretty much most of the team ups in the game are a Vanguard or a support giving a DPS character another ability.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree with this take that there's a lot more space to do other things like that. The ones that we have where the supports or the tanks are the target aren't really that helpful. Like you've got the Iron Fist Luna one, which
I've
stands
still
out.
never seen.
Right.
Never.
Like that stands out as like almost it might be the only ability where a duelist is giving a strategist something and there's nothing that like people don't need it. Like you don't see it that much. I guess no.
I'm just scanning. It's
Cloak and Dagger
literally
giving
the only
Midnight,
one.
yeah.
It's the only thing where a strategist is given anything at all.
Well,
Except for
Adam
Luna
gives Mantis.
a strategist gives another strategist a thing.
Yeah.
But from a duelist or Vanguard or anything. Yeah, man. Team ups are one of the coolest parts of the game. There's nothing in any other game that's like it, and there's so much opportunity here. I know that I know that they have to like remove team ups to add new team ups because otherwise it just gets overwhelming and crazy and imbalanced in a not fun but chaotic way. But I want to see more team ups. I hope that they continue their trend with doing like 3 new ones every season. That would be super cool.
Yeah, I guess my hope would be for them to get rid like when season 3 comes. This could be something we talk about sometime too. Is like what we want to see out of future team ups and stuff. But I think like it might be interesting to get rid of the Planet X pals. There's got to be another one that eats up Vanguards and supports, but doesn't really give them anything. And then a couple duelists, and they just mix it around so the duelists are giving those Vanguards and supports something. Like,
yeah,
I want to see Rocket get something from someone. that like
Yeah.
gives him another weapon that he doesn't normally have.
Mm-hmm. I know, right? Yeah, that's like a huge part of his whole thing is he's always got some new tech that he's been tinkering with.
Like heck,
That would be
let's
super
do like
cool.
a Mr. Fantastic Rocket team up,
Ooh, dang.
right? Where he gives Rocket some sort of technology, and it
Yeah.
boosts Rocket. And it gives you a reason to pick Rocket when there's a Mr. Fantastic.
Yep. That's cool. I like that. Well, our second team up is wow. Once again, let me state it is 2:00 in the morning. Our second Reddit take is just a great photo. I don't know what this is from, but it's really funny. This is by Hisoka1001, and this is a hot take. He says they say, I don't think Galacta is very annoying. Am I in the minority here? Sure. After a loss streak, the can't be expected to win them all can add insult to injury. But I genuinely like hearing her callouts. My goofy will be screaming, big win, with her after a hard-earned victory, too. She has callouts at the halfway mark, the 80% capture mark for domination, etc. That can really help remind me of the objective when I'm too tunnel visioned. I feel you there. I'm curious, any other Galacta enjoyers? For the Galacta haters, what makes you dislike her? The voice lines? I want to understand both sides. I'm there. Like, this has been a meme from the beginning, honestly, of people hating Galacta. I have like never once thought that. Which is funny for me because I'm generally not a fan of this kind of like archetype of a character, the like high pitched voice kind of like quirky thing. But you know, I think she's fine.
Yeah, I actually do. I do too for the most part. I think the comments in this actually have it down right away. The like,
Yeah.
it's not all the stuff that people meme on that's annoying from Galacta. I actually think she's pretty good as far as announcers go. But the ones that are annoying are when she talks in the spawn over
Yes.
the character interactions. They just need to time those so that they happen at different times.
Right.
Because they like have character interactions go right up to the match, and then every match has her going 5, 4, 3, while right over whatever it was that you were trying to hear.
Yep.
And then the other one is I never realized it because I never played Conquest until the big head mode. But people pointed out that it's like the old Halo days when you're in Conquest because she calls something out every single time the lead changes, which is quite often in a game like that. And so they're just saying she's just like a squeakier, like more annoying version of the tied, the leader, lost the lead from the old Halo games that just like is constant.
Yeah, I do. There is a good tip here though that I mean, obviously if you really hate it, you can turn her volume off all the way. There is an announcer volume setting in the options, or you can just bring it down to like, 70%, 50%, whatever. So that way you don't get that over character interactions and things like that.
Nice. Yeah.
But I really do like I like this person's point about the calling out the halfway mark, the 80% capture mark. Like C9ing is too big of a problem in hero shooters in general and objective based games. So utilizing her, listening for her to actually remind you, oh yeah, wait a minute, we are losing, is a good one. Someone else has a comment here about if you really hate her voice, subtitles. You can turn on subtitles, and in addition to that, you can the subtitles will read out ultimates and other abilities with voice lines too, so that you can, if you're like too far away and you wouldn't naturally hear it, like you'll get the subtitle for it, and the subtitles are color coded too. So even if there's a mirror match, you'll know.
I can't believe I haven't done that yet. I did that in Overwatch. I had a whole bunch of subtitles on.
Did you really?
For that very reason, because you'd be able to pick up things that like you wouldn't normally hear. Overwatch had a lot more distance-based stuff where like you wouldn't necessarily hear the ult line if they were far away.
Yeah.
Where Rivals, it seems like it pretty much just telegraphs it across the map.
Does it? Oh, I guess I guess I haven't thought about that.
I don't
thought
know
it
that I've
was
ever
just
had a time where I haven't known that someone was ulting. You know what I mean?
Oh,
But
would you know?
well, sure. But like being able to get it just that much quicker if it's
Yeah.
showing up immediately
Yeah.
and you see Winter Soldier in red and you're like, oh shoot, gotta move.
There
That
it is.
that would be helpful. It was really good in Overwatch at least.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna enable subtitles. So cool. Well, dang. That is episode 14, everybody. Thanks for joining us for that ride, as always. If you are looking for even more Friends and Rivals content, you can consider joining us over on Instagram at Friends and Rivals, on X at Friend Rival Pod, or on Discord via the link in the show notes. And hey, if you've got a question you'd like us to answer in our next episode, drop it in the Discord chat or in the comments on Spotify, or feel free to send us a Gmail directly. So, with that, we will see you in the multiverse.
See ya.